Spoilers of the Damned.
Hello and welcome to Being John Malkovich.
The movie.
Malkovich.
Yeah, like Chris said, the movie, not actually going about your day-to-day life as you are, John Malkovich, because that's just a bit weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder how much of this movie was actually John Malkovich being John Malkovich, or if it's like completely fictitious.
Oh,
His
wow.
life's very boring.
I mean, he didn't even finish his toast. That pissed me off. He had like
Yeah.
3 crusts of toast that still had good bread on there. It's like he took like 1 or 2 bites out of like a whole loaf and then just piled it onto a plate and then just, got rid of it.
And then he put the cup in the sink and he just filled it with water and walked off. That's not doing the dishes.
Well, yeah, and then he just leaves the apartment, doesn't he? And he wasted good coffee.
Yeah, wasted good coffee.
Don't waste coffee.
So apparently to be John Malkovich is to be flippant when it comes to basic household chores and making sure that you don't waste food.
Yeah, you
Being
white
John
privileged
Malkovich.
bastard.
Hey, to be John Malkovich is to be wasteful. That's it. That's all we learned from this movie. Wrap it up.
Well, to be fair to him, I think there is only one victim in this movie, and that is John Malkovich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's in the very process of being, and then all of a sudden he's no longer being. You know?
Yes, and then
Deep.
being within being.
Oh, yeah. And then being all beings.
So many
Too
beings.
many beings.
All the beings. All
Yeah.
the beans. I don't know.
Refried beings.
Well, how have you guys been? Let's push all of the John Malkovich talk aside to about 40 minutes from now. So, yeah, I know you're raring to go, but
Yeah.
we'll,
I want to be
we'll
John Malkovich.
postpone it.
I've been doing pretty good, actually. I've nearly beaten Final Fantasy X again for the first time in like 20 years.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, like once I got to the airship part, I was like, oh man, I'd forgotten what it's like to be on this airship. I was like running down the halls, like nostalgia like hitting me in the face, like figuring out how much Albed language I actually know, you know, not like in my brain, but my character Titus and all that kind of stuff. And that was actually a lot of fun. But what wasn't fun is that when you get to the part where you're at the end game, the part where you have the last boss ahead of you, but you have the freedom to do whatever you want between where you are and the last boss and unlock all the celestial weapons and that kind of stuff. That's when like the true horror sets in. That there isn't a single thing that you want to do before you kill the boss, but you still have to do something to power up a bit before you kill the boss. So you start like picking apart the things you can do.
Yeah, it gets a bit...
It's
grindy, sort of.
It's not grindy. It's like these impossible hoops that you have to jump through. I remember last cast I was talking about how we have to dodge 100 lightning bolts. I was wrong. You have to dodge 200 lightning bolts.
God.
Fucking
I
hell.
thought it was 100.
I mean, I was thinking 100 was unreasonable and it should have been somewhere around 50 because I can't imagine what it would be like dodging your 167th straight lightning bolt and then missing the next one and then like continuing to live.
I just turn the control, the game off. Just turn it off. I'm never playing it again.
Yeah, like, but see, that's what you have to do to get the other part to unlock Kamari's celestial weapon. You can get all the other parts, but without that one part, you don't have the celestial weapon or even a reasonable facsimile of such. So, like, the only thing I can really get, and I have already completed, was Titus's celestial weapon, which I remember wasn't really strong anyway. No. It's just, you know, it's a cool looking weapon called Khalid Bulk, which I remember, like, mythologically speaking, it's like an Irish or Celtic weapon. I think it's a Celtic weapon, rumored to slice through mountains. So it's like, damn, Titus, you got one hell of a weapon there.
Wouldn't that make more sense to give it to Auron? So he's like the strong one.
Yeah, he's the piercing sword guy. Like all of his weapons break armor. But yeah, whatever. Final Fantasy. So there's that. Then there's like this little butterfly mini game you have to do where like the first part of it, easy, no problem. The second part of it is like dense with, okay, just real quick, what you have to do is you go to one butterfly and then from that point on you have to only touch blue butterflies on this windy like tree branch path. And then you have red butterflies. If you touch them, you go into a fight, which doesn't make the timer, you're timed, by the way. You have to get all the blue butterflies in time. But you're not, like, your time isn't broken when you go into combat, but you do have like a second and a half before touching the red butterfly and then actual combat. So that's where the time break comes from. but it's like dense with red butterflies, and there are no corresponding shadows on the surface area, so you know where they are. And basically, my character, I have no idea if I'm about to walk into a red butterfly or not. Also, I don't have any idea if I'm going to walk into a blue butterfly or not. And time is ticking, so it's like I'm trying to like run in circles to where is the blue butterfly there, or is it over there? Is it in the foreground or background? Is it bigger or smaller? I can't tell in reference to anything. Oh yeah, this was a PS2 game, that kind of stuff.
Such busy work.
It's not a good minigame if it sounds like you'd be just as good at it with your eyes closed.
Yeah. Exactly.
Exactly. Like, I always love it in like Final Fantasy games anyway, but it's just like, okay, we've got to go and destroy sin and save the world. Like, where you guys like? So you're like one of the Albeds, and like you've seen all these horrible atrocities, and you're like, yeah, we're gonna go and fight sin.
Yeah.
And then like Uni's like, I think we need to go to the Crystal Forest. Right. I want to go and catch butterflies. What? You don't understand. It will help me get a super weapon. Like,
that's a 100% super impersonation of Yuna, by the way.
But it's like, so we gotta go and stop Godzilla, but you want to go and grab butterflies.
Well, yeah, duh.
Then I'll get a super weapon from the moon. Oh, Jesus Christ! She's gone. She's gone, guys. Just humour. She's gone. What does you have to do to get Auron's one? You have to capture. Do you have to capture monsters?
You have to capture every monster in the game, which by itself is not hard. Because when you start out-leveling stuff, it's like you don't really need all the stats on your weapon anyway. You have to use a specific weapon to capture the monster. Literally just use the fight command until they run out of hit points.
That's right, yeah.
The problem comes in when you have to capture 10 of every monster.
That's where
in
I
the
got.
game.
Yeah, I remember last time I was playing it, I was doing that, and I was trying to get this one monster, and it wouldn't spawn.
It won't spawn. Yeah,
it was so annoying.
Like I bumped into like to get Yuna's like weapon, I just have to get one of every monster in the Calmlands, which is fine. I've already got them all except for one, the Anacondor. I've seen two of them in the same encounter, and I was like, these guys, I'm just gonna limit break them. So I used Waka to use element reels, and his element reels is so strong. He basically kicks a blitzball so hard it just kills giants. It's awesome. So I did that, wiped him out, and I was like, oh shit, I didn't use the fight command, which means I didn't capture those, which means I have to run in circles until they spawn again because I didn't capture them yet. And then for the next 45 minutes, they did not spawn. And I'm losing my mind. Because I just want, like, even if I were to, like, get this one and get Yuna's weapon, I still have to do this 10 more times, or 9 more times for Auron to get his weapon. And I started to realize, this isn't worth it. This is not worth it at all.
Yeah, that's what I was like. I was sat there, it's like a couple of years ago, and I was playing the PS3 re-release. And I got to the point, you get to a stage where you just sat there, you look at the time, how much time's passed, and you're like, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
Why am I doing this? Like, I beat, like, Unalesca in one attempt, like, without these super weapons. Why am I doing this?
Yeah. And Unalesca...
I find as I get older, that kicks in. I've been playing Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy recently.
Great, really good, isn't it?
And it's really good, and it's a great nostalgia trip.
Yeah,
although I definitely played 3 more than 2 and 1, but
okay.
I'm kind of like, I started doing time trials, and I was playing Crash 1, and I started doing time trials, and I was like, how in God's name did you get this time? And so I started trying to do it, and then I was kind of like, this just isn't fun for me. Why am I doing this?
It's when it gets to that stage, you think, I mean, because I even like 4 or 5 years ago, I liked like getting platinum trophies, and I still like doing it occasionally if the game's fun, if it's fun to obtain it. But when it's such a painful, not stressful, but just when it's not fun. It's like,
when it's tedious.
Yeah, it's tedious. Yeah, when it becomes tedious. Like, because at the end of the day, all it is like, go, I got a fake digital platinum trophy that's just like a 2D image.
Yeah.
Like,
the binary code you've just been given it has a 1 in it instead of a 0.
Exactly.
Congratulations.
Whereas games like the Uncharted games, I loved doing the platinum for Uncharted because all it was getting headshots, getting so many headshots completely on the top difficulty, getting all the artifacts. That's fun because you run around hunting to collect them all. Or like the Infamous games. Doing the Infamous games was really fun because all you had to do really was play as good and play it as evil, but obviously playing it at high difficulty, and then get all the abilities and do certain things. That's fun. That's really fun.
Yeah.
But when it gets to the point of...
Yeah, case in point, I've just been playing Until Dawn, and the trophies in that are kind of like down different narrative routes, so you get to see new different ways the story could happen. So
Yeah.
you know, I mean, there is a bit of tedium in replaying chapters and stuff, but you know, it's still not that bad.
But still, yeah, because it allows you, at least then you're being rewarded for experiencing the entire game, not just like 10 dodging playing a crap
200
minigame.
lightning bolts.
Yeah, and it's so easy to get that just off as well. It's really difficult to time it just right, and to do it 200 times is just so insane.
Yeah. And it even tells you not to use like an automatic function.
It's like that won't work.
So it's like, I don't know if they're just saying don't do that or we'll know, like Metal Gear Solid did.
Oh, I love
or
that.
Or if it's like,
yeah, ain't gonna work, bitch.
Or if it's like you just if you have a frame input before and after the frame that you actually have to hit the button at, that will actually nullify that input or something. Like they just will make it so you can't do it anymore. I don't know what it is, but my problem is that but I've heard about people who have done it. My cousin did it. There are people in the world who do it like on stream. If they were to go through a game, they're like Proton John. He's well known for as far as I know for doing things like, okay, I'm going to 100% this game, and he'll make sure he gets all of the souls in a Castlevania game or something, or he'll make sure to find all the things in a Wario game or something, or he'll play Superman 64. He'll actually play that piece of shit, And then I'm like, how do they get themselves in the mindset to do these kinds of things and not want to just throw the controller away and then walk away and go do something like go on a walk or like unlock life's greatest mysteries? You know what I'm saying? Go to school and try to... Yeah, something meaningful. I hate it that I don't feel like I can just do that meaningless activity until the point where I succeed.
I've got to enjoy it.
Aside from the fact that they have a paying audience, that probably helps a bit.
That probably helps a lot. Yeah.
But even then,
I do understand the challenge of trying to do something, for sure. Like I play CODs on like hard difficulties and stuff because, that's I feel like there's a challenge there. It challenges my faculties, I guess, my abilities. But
grenades.
When it comes to like Crash 1, which is even in the remaster is not the greatest controlling game ever.
God no.
And I'm kind of like I'm trying my hardest, and I'm at 37, and it's got to be a 34. I'm like,
No, I know that.
I'm gonna play Crash 3.
Yeah, you say like Crash 2 and 3. Like, I got like halfway through the Insane trilogy, and then I stopped because might have been Persona 5 just absolutely grabbed hold of me. But when I went straight from 1 to 2 because I was playing with my girlfriend and she ended up like watching me play it because she can't play games too long because it's no damage, but in her hand. But we went straight from 1 to 2, and like the difference in quality and controls is staggering. Because 2 and 3 control very similar. Just more refinements as it goes on. But yeah, 1 really rough around the edges. Actually reminds me of Demon's Souls, which I hate having to pronounce because it's so it's not difficult, it's just annoying to pronounce because you have to stop. Demon's Souls. It's not Dark Souls or Demon's Souls, it's Demon's Souls. Because I started playing with From Software games. I started with Bloodborne first, which is the best Castlevania game ever made. If you play it with a threaded cane, it's basically Castlevania, especially when you go to Canehurst Castle. So I started that first, and I absolutely fell in love with it. Then me and my friend Richard, we bought the PS4 re-release of Dark Souls 2. We loved that. Then we played Dark Souls 1 on PC, loved it. And then we were there for Dark Souls 3 when it came out. And I never played Demon's Souls. So me and my girlfriend have been, she's been watching me play. We've been playing it, and it's kind of, if I'm going to, say it's similar to like Crash Bandicoot in terms of it's so less refined than its later games, where it's just some of it I've just gone, fuck's sake. Like the bosses are all kind of boring. There was one boss I fought last night which nearly had me to turn the game off, where all his attacks he would just go and he'd run around, keep roaring. And he just always do his punch attack, which was like an explosion. So you had to kind of get close to him to attack him, but then he's got a big explosion attack, which even if you've got your shield up, still hurts you. So you have to try and run around him, but then he'll do an attack where he just makes the ground explode. And it's all he did, like constantly. He didn't really change his attacks up, even when you got him down to like half health or anything. And And then when I turned it off earlier, whereas Bloodborne and the Dark Souls games were so brilliant at making rewarding you for exploration and clearing an area because you'd open up a really good shortcut which would allow you to either get to another area quicker or get to a boss room quicker. So you'd go, look, you have explored fucking everything, and now you've unlocked this door, which goes to a tunnel which has got like one enemy that leads back to the bonfire, that's where you go when you die. So you can go straight back to the boss and you can try it again. Whereas this one, you open up a portcullis and then you have to fight 3 shield bearings, like mooks, which aren't too difficult. Then you have to fight 2 guys with spears. Then you have to fight 2 guys with punch, shield, and spears. Then you have to fight 2 more guys with sword and shields. And there's guys shooting you with arrows. Then there's 3 really fucking tough trident users that have shields as well. And they can like kill you. Like if you're not careful, they can just kill you outright. Then you get to the boss fight, and it can kill you in 1 hit. And I've sat there, and I'm like, this isn't fun. I'm not having fun here. This is really frustrating. And that's how I feel about a lot of games now. I don't know if it is because I've gotten older, but if I'm not having fun, then I'm like, maybe I should play something else.
I think it can be a mixture. It can be being older, but it can also be being used to the refinements that have come over previous titles.
I mean, it's because because that's the thing. Like, I love. It's not even a case of because someone might go, "Oh, you still like it because it's hard." I'm like, no, like the Dark Souls and Bloodborne games are like some of my favourite games ever made, and they are so fucking hard, but they're so well made, where it's more challenging, and it makes you go, "I want to try again." Gotta try again, yeah, because I'm going to go back and I'm going to kill it this time. Whereas when it came to Demon Souls, a lot of it has been, fuck's sake, I've got to do that again. Like getting to the part where you want. It's like with the Uncharted games. What's so good about them, and like Gears of War's good as well. Whereas they can get really tough, but you die and it reloads really quick, so you're like back in the action. Right, want to go again. Yeah. You're not there going, okay, loading screen. Fuck's sake, okay, it's still loading. Now I'm back. Okay, oh, for God's sake, I need to go and get more healing supplies. Right, I guess better kill some monsters for a bit to get my stuff, and then go and buy stuff. And you want to get going again, whereas Dark Souls and Bloodborne allows you to do that. Like, you get there and you're there really quick. You punch through, get to the boss. Demon Souls is is more tedious, I think.
That's funny, because like Demon Souls is the only Souls game I've beaten.
Shit, play the others, you'll love them.
Well, no, I have played the other ones and I don't love them.
Oh, fair enough. But yeah, it just.
I mean, I like them enough. I don't want to do what I did in Demon Souls again, really. And I also like I have like this perception of the game design in Souls games, not so much that they're hard or even really unreasonable, but like kind of like unfair platformer stuff. It's not that if you knew it was there, it wouldn't be a problem. But you don't know things are there, and that means you're always going to bump into problems, which makes you just want to stay at the bonfire, use all your souls to buy things as much as possible, just to dump the souls so you can have the items, because you don't lose those when you die, and then be like, okay, I've sapped myself of soul, and I'm not human, so if I die, I will lose the least amount. So I'm going to run out there and see all the traps, get killed by all of them, and then remember where they are, and then come back again and again, and I just don't want to do that anymore. I think it's terrible. I think it's actually bad game design, and it wouldn't be so bad except for the fact that most of these traps target you specifically. Like, you're going to come down this way, and then this thing is going to happen, and then you will die, and then you'll remember where that is. So now you're going to like walk forward, and then you're going to turn around real quick because you know it's coming this time. Yeah. Whereas, you know what I'm saying? Like if what I'm saying. It just feels unfair, not like difficult or challenging. It just feels unfair.
It's not like a Limbo. Test of your. Yeah, it's not. I was going to say bring up Limbo because it reminded me of that. But it's not about your skill as a platformer or a puzzler or anything. It's about your memory skills. It's like literally, can you go through the thing and remember where not to walk?
Yeah, it's like that's exactly what I was going to get onto. Was the absolute worst of those. Those platformers are like, whoa, it's like the hardest platform ever, and all it is just
like I want to be the guy.
And it's like oh, you didn't know Spike was going to be on that platform. Looks safe, dickhead. Like, this isn't fun.
Right?
Like, oh, you made it, though, you died. No.
I've been playing Divinity Original Sin on Sundays with a friend of mine, and I do recommend that for anybody. It's an amazing game. It's a little bit broken, but it's an amazing, fun, wonderful idea. The thing about that, and also with D&D and other games of its type, is that if you have a high perception skill, you can see traps before you set them off.
So
Wouldn't that be nice in Dark Souls and Demon Souls and all that kind of stuff? Wouldn't it be nice to be like, oh, there's a tripwire there, or there's a pressure plate right there, you know? And you could you can turn that off for future playthroughs because you'll remember it at that point. But like, you know, playing the thief class should have some sort of benefit to that, so you don't get smashed by a rolling boulder down some stairs, or you know, like maybe you'll see like some sound wave icon, so you'll be able to hear there's an enemy nearby who's just like scraping a little bit of steel on stone. So like, wait, what was that? I know there's something there, and then you can be prepared instead of like sweating, nervous, holding your shield up, crawling through every hallway, just waiting to be hit by anything and everything because you know that you're just gonna have to take it first before you'd like to just run through or even like enjoy yourself and you're on a jaunt through the hallways with this destroyed kingdom. But no, you can't do that because someone's gonna be standing on a parapet above you, shooting arrows at you when you walk across a battlement, and then like you see this giant Taurus demon barreling down on you. You're like, oh no, you turn around, the arrow is already halfway in flight to your brain, and then you're dead, because that's what happens in Dark Souls 1. And then you remember to go back up to that boss fight, leave the door, turn around, climb the ladder up to that little tower, kill those 2 archers, then go down that ladder, then challenge the Taurus demon. you know?
It harkens back to last week's cast. At the end of the last cast, we were talking about parallel universes. And basically, there is one universe where the main character gets all of the shit right first time, but we kind of like are passengers with all of the different universes where, like, you know, James Bond doesn't press triangle at the right point and gets decapitated or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that was a weird movie.
Yeah. So it's like
decapitation, credits roll, heads roll, you know.
Yeah.
Interesting way to finish the series. I'm afraid you have syphilis, and then he just dies.
Well, you see, if James Bond is going to regenerate, like, he has to have a mortal wound first, and then he glows. And have I got this right?
Yeah, you got it right.
Yeah, that's that series, right? Dr. Bond, I think it's called.
Dr. Bond.
Yeah, it's going to regenerate into.
Dr. Bond sounds like a really strong adhesive agent that you would buy in a shop.
Awesome.
Oh my god.
Dr. Bond sticks anything to anything. Been decapitated? Just
Flat
use
tire?
Dr. Bond.
Just regenerates like an FPS character. Just wipes the jam off his face and he's okay.
Yeah. Bond, Dr. Bond.
And we're in a new universe.
Oh, man. But yeah, speaking of remakes and stuff, I also picked up the Secret of Mana remake, which I mentioned last cast.
Oh, yes.
And it's perfect, unfortunately.
You're like, damn it!
This is a bad thing?
You're like, I want it to be bad.
No. It's flawless in that it's a remaster of Secret of Mana in every way. Like, that's where it falls short, because there's a lot of problems with the original Secret of Mana, like I was talking about with the stun locking and stuff. You can easily do that in this. You have hundreds of frames that you could swing again and then stun lock an enemy, and that can be done to you too. Yeah. So it's like, you know, one of those things where it's like Demon Souls, you have that like clumsy sort of like walk or like swing or something like that. You know, if you hit the attack button, you're going to be in full swing state for like 30 frames or something, and so you can't really, unless you're going to hit the enemy in front of you, you can't really do anything but take the incoming damage. So Secret of Mana is very similar to that. I think it's beautiful though. It's very colorful, really well done. And one of the best things about it is that there's a mini map in the upper right hand corner that uses all the Super Nintendo tile set.
Oh, that's cool.
So
yeah, I
you
saw
can
that.
see
That's
that.
nice.
Yeah.
I caught a little bit on stream, and the person I was watching, all of the NPCs were walking into walls.
Yes, that is OG Secret of Mana right there.
Okay,
They walk right into walls.
that's the thing, isn't it? Is that because I don't want things to be completely remade and changed to how they were, but if you're going to go to all the trouble of making new polygon graphics, you know, 3D graphics for it, and going to go to all the trouble of doing it, at least try and change some of it, because otherwise you might as well just re-release the original, because the original still looks okay.
Yeah,
so it's just
it still looks really great. If it was like sharper
Yeah.
res, maybe it'd be fine.
It's just like, what? Why go to the trouble of redoing like all the sprites into the 3D and that?
This is what I've been finding with the Shadow of the Colossus remake.
I've heard good things about
that just
actually.
came out.
It's
good. It's great. It looks beautiful.
Yeah, because I did
it looks beautiful.
Because I thought I've got the PS3 on, but then I heard it was rebuilt from the ground up. Like,
yeah, but there are lots of
Added
like
stuff,
gameplay quirks that just carry right on through to this one. And it's kind of like one of those things where, while the workman's in there with the guts out tinkering with it, could you also add this and this, please? Because maybe when you put it back together, it would be better. And they kind of neglected to do that. Trying to drive your horse is still atrocious.
Yeah, aggro was always a bitch to control at times.
Climbing and jumping is still very finicky at times. Really? These problems were all there before, and I mean, I could easily overlook them because it's a masterpiece and everything else.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
And it's so gorgeous. The work they've done on the I was just standing on a cliff, sort of. I think I was on my way to the fifth Colossi, the bird one. And so I was just kind of like on a cliff on my way towards that, and I looked over and I saw all these cascading waterfalls in the distance, and I was like, whoa. And then I fell off the Colossi 3 times because
I do love it though when a game like that in particular can just be so striking and looks so good that it just stops you dead. You go, wow, that looks fucking great. I did that when I've been playing a lot of Monster Hunter World recently, which is a lot of fun.
Me too.
So much fun.
It's okay.
And I got to this bit. My friend showed me this area that I'd never even been to, which is in the first area, the forest. And
the ancient forest.
Yeah, and
did you hitch a ride with a wyvern and fly to the top of the forest? Is that what it is?
That's what he showed me. I was like, I didn't even know this was up here.
Yeah, there's flash bugs up there. I need those.
I know, and I was just like, oh, what's this? Oh, that looks like a nest. Oh, it's one of the dragons. There's the other one. Oh no, they both put fire. But there was this one bit where I was just looking at the background and like the scenery, and it's like even the detail of the stuff so far off in the distance looks so good, to the fact where there was a waterfall in the distance, and they'd even animated it, and you had all the steam and everything like coming off of the ground where it was hitting the rocks and the lake below, and I just stood there going, this looks fucking gorgeous, and then got mauled by a Raytheon, I think it was, or was it the other one? One of them. And then we tried to fight the Diablos in the desert.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, and we went ting off its head. Oh.
I hear that this is the most accessible one yet.
It's really
in terms of Monster Hunters.
Yeah,
but it's still just as clumsy as the ones I've played before.
It's very clumsy.
Accessible is not really a strong selling point to somebody who's new to Monster Hunter, I think.
I do love one of the things I really like is that you make a character, but you don't pick your class, and it just goes, here are all the starter weapons, and it just basically allows you to test them all out and find the one that works for you, which is what I really like. Yeah. It's not one of these things like, because that's the problem I have with a lot of RPGs. It's like, what class do you want to be? Well, I like playing rangers, like having daggers or like one sword and then like a bow, but having a shield's good and having to be able to take hits. Like, I don't know. Whereas this just goes, look, here's all the base weapons, try them out, and if you find one you like, so I'm using the switch axe at the moment, which goes from a heavy axe to this like ginormous Final Fantasy VII looking sword.
I could not figure out how to use the switch axe.
Oh really? Once you figure it out, it's so good.
Yeah, I'm using the gun lance because gun and lance.
I love how enormous it is. It's so comically huge as well. Like, firing that thing would break every bone in your arm and possibly your back.
It would shatter your entire right hand side. It's awesome though.
Don't you just
when my brother can
Sorry, go on.
Like when my brother starts hitting, like a beast or whatever, or he gets on the back of it and stuns it.
Yeah.
And just put the gun lance to its forehead and just charge it up. It's like wyvern fire explosion right in its mouth. It's like, yeah, that's right.
And there's no
Plus
stock
I have a shield.
There's no stock either, is there? You're just like firing it from the hip.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much. It's awesome.
Like the switch axe has got a similar thing where when you build up all the elemental power in it, you have like this discharge move, and you can literally, if you hit it just right, you like jam it into them and like ride them for a bit, and then it explodes. It's like,
wow.
Wouldn't that like kill me as well?
Yeah. But then wearing the armor that you wear would kill you. It all looks so heavy. Everything looks frighteningly heavy.
I love it.
But then they balance that with like, see how much protein you're eating. You know, you go to the canteen and that super cat chef is like making huge salmon steaks on top of roast beef, on top of kebabs, on top of a massive soup and salad and bread, and you just chug beer on top of it. Yeah. You're just chugging carbs and protein, so you're like a super soldier now. Yeah, you get ripped and shredded after every meal. So it's awesome.
I absolutely love it. I mean, it's got problems, but I'm still, whenever I play it, I just enjoy the shit out of it. It's just fun. It's weird. Yeah. It's a game that I find that I can pick up and play for like a couple of hours because the hunts are so quick and short, the little quests. Or if my friends are on, we can play it for like 4 or 5 hours straight.
Yeah,
it's really well paced in that regards, I think, because going to and from missions is quite quick. It doesn't take too long to load. But even when you go to an area, you can just go back to your handler and pick another quest without going back to the home base.
And I do like that my brother, who's like way further in the game than I am, because I was playing FF10 and Secret of Mana and some other things. Like when we get together and do a mission that's my hunter rank appropriate, it's not over with like I didn't need to be there.
Yeah,
he still has to hit it quite a lot, and he still has to like make sure that we use a trap and we like chase it down and track it and all that kind of stuff. So I still feel like I'm engaging with the game and my brother, even though he's like 4 times more powerful than I am.
Yeah, exactly.
But then I also make sure I have armor suits that are suited for each monster we're going to fight.
Yeah,
I love doing that.
Yeah,
like if I can make a new suit, I make the whole suit.
Yeah, you really feel like it's like one of the things I loved about The Witcher 3. I really want to go back and play the other 2. What I loved about that was you really felt like when you're tracking these monsters, and then you get that moment before you fight it, like you like preparing for it. So you get all the oils and you drink all the right potions to combat all its like status effects. It makes you feel like it's really immersive because you feel like you're really preparing to hunt these creatures like you would. You wouldn't just go, I'm going to wear plate. Oh, you've got heavy plate. Oh, you just won't take much damage then.
Yeah,
it's not like you really feel like you're like, okay, well, make sure we get this and like combat that, and we get these items because I know that it's weak to poison and all this shit. So it's great, and it really encourages you to it's like the weapons. It encourages you to use try them all out. It also encourages you to use different armor sets because this armor set is really good. It's not going to be good against this.
Yeah,
this thing's gonna electrocute the shit out of you.
Well, yeah. What I start doing now is like it says, like if I can make a whole armor set, I'll just make the whole armor set.
Yeah.
But I won't empower with armor spheres to like buff its defense until I need that set. Yeah. And I'll just stack armor spheres on the side. Right now I'm just using like the Vespoid set because it's got the highest defense and the lowest varied range of resistances, meaning like it's equally as resistant to about everything except for I think fire or thunder or something like that. But, I mean, I figure if I'm going to be fighting something, I'll just switch out. But as a general rule, the Vespoid set is like a good, like, all-around set. Plus, I look rather cool in it. It's bug armor.
I love
that. Nice, like, bug carapace stuff and a bug face and my giant revolver cannon on my back with my shield that I use.
Is it the Vespoid one that's got, like, it's like the 2 pincers on each shoulder as well? Or is that the other one? Because there's like, lots of different bug sets. And it's like trying to grab your weapon off your back would be rather cumbersome, I think.
Yeah, it would be impossible.
I know it's cool.
That's where the game really slows down for me is the fact that you can't do anything when you want to do it. You have to set up your character to animate towards the thing you want him to do. Everything's like the actions are all are tiered. So like if you're in neutral stance, you can use an item. If you have your weapon out, you can't use an item. You have to put your weapon up. You have to go through the whole process of cracking my gun lance in half and setting it on whatever imaginary back holster I have before I can yank a potion out and drink it. And the drinking animation is long enough that I could die while drinking the potion.
Yeah.
So it's like I need to like overheal more often than healing just at the right time. Or there's the times where like I'm fighting something and my brother's trying to join, and I had this setting where I needed to accept an invitation before they can join my game because I was assuming people would just flood my game. I didn't realize you can just put a password in or whatever.
Yeah.
So I was like in the start menu while that lightning flying squirrel dragon thing. I can't remember what it's called. Was zapping around me, and I'm like, okay, start menu. I can't pause the game. It's just like Dark Souls. So I'm like, where do I accept friend? What the? Zap, beat up, die, faint, get wheeled back into the camp. Fine, now I can look for it. Oh, there it is. Now he can join me. Now let's go back and do it. And I'm going to go right back to the canteen, eat another massive protein feast so I can go back to the fight. And I hate that like everything is so menued and tiered, and that's this Monster Hunter though. Like it's his whole design. So like not even like could I like I can pull out the lance, couch it, and put my shield up and do an attack, or I have to let go of the shield and then do an attack, and that's an entire different series of attacks. So it's like I have to make sure I'm pressing the right buttons at the right time. But if you can know what you're supposed to press in advance, like if you think like chess, 3 moves ahead, then it flows just fine, and you can have a good time with it. But if you're like, no, don't put it up, god dang it, I can't run while I have it out, so I gotta do this, and then fuck, and then you basically look like you're fumbling with yourself the whole time you're in the middle of a monster fight, and it's just gliding around, zapping you, rolling around, flipping you up into the air, poisoning you, setting you on fire, throwing you off cliffs, which thankfully there's no fall damage.
No, that's something I really like.
No, that's why it's so clumsy to me. I really hate that I have to like really think about what I'm going to do 3 turns ahead, and if like the monster switches stances to do a charging attack and I'm in the middle of drinking my potion, I can't cancel the action, get like half health or something, and dodge roll out of the way. I'm like, nope, this potion's too good. Nom 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 nom. Down goes the potion, down into my brook. I hate it, but at the same time, I do recognize that it's a good game and it's fun and I enjoy it. So whatever.
Yeah, it's a sign. It's a showing of a game that has some issues, but the positives far outweigh the negatives, I think, and it does enough that makes it fun.
And it's almost entirely up to me to just do better, to get good.
Yeah, I feel like that.
Which is samely, oh, fuck you. Anyway.
That's how I feel with my...
I need to get better, is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying that's
I'm not
that's how
good?
I feel.
Are you trying to tell me get good?
No, because the thing, like, the amount of times I'm like, okay, right, now I need to drink a mega potion to get my health back, and it starts running towards me, and I panic, so I roll, and you don't get all the health back. You only get like some of it back. Is just one, you feel like such an idiot.
Yeah, basically.
I'm such a twat.
Or like, I want to use a flashbug launcher so I can like stun it, but then it's like, where is it in my menu? Click, 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 click. No, I don't need the capture net. I wish I could just take that out of my quick list because I never use it. I have used it, but I don't like need it there. I would rather just go to my inventory and just use it. I don't need the whetstone really right there either. I would rather just use it, as a different function or whatever. But I have like 13 things in my hotbar, and I can only scroll through it unless I start setting the radial menu to start doing it that way. And it's like, why don't just like you make the radial menu the standard then, if you're gonna give me the radial menu. Yeah, but I just realized something. This isn't the Monster Hunter podcast, and we're fucking talking about Monster Hunter the whole time. Hey,
monsters can be scary.
They can be scary, and sometimes those fights are scary, but... Yeah,
sometimes they are, actually. You're like, that's really big, I don't want to fight it.
Yeah, or when you get, like, consumed by one. Like, actually, like, in the mouth, and it's chomping on you, and it's just your armor protecting you from those massive teeth, and then it throws you into the air.
Oh, that's horrible. That I can't remember what it's called, the T-Rex, basically, in the first area.
Was it Rathalos or something?
Alginath.
Something.
The thing. T-Rex.
Angie's List. I don't know. But yeah, it like has like a frightening like frontal like flamesack thing, where it's like it's not up all the time, but when it's up, it's like, what's it doing? And then it breathes fire. It's like, oh god, it's a T-Rex on top of it.
That fucking fire.
And then it has wings. It's like, what the fuck is it? Oh, Anjanath. That's what it's called. Anjanath. Now it's fully formed in my memory.
Oh, that fire attack. It's like, hey, you've really pissed me off. I'm going to kill you in one hit now, okay? What?
Yeah.
Oh, it's fun. I want to go and play Monster Hunter now. No, I can't.
All right, bye. Bye. See you later.
I've got to play a technical test, actually, tomorrow. Shit. I got a code from a games company. That I applied for it. You just, send your email in. And it's for a game I'm very excited about to play with my friend, but they were like strictly in the email. It's like, you cannot tell anyone. I'm like, no, you can't tell anyone about the game. But but don't record it. Don't do anything. Okay.
So should you even mention it on the podcast right now?
I can do it. I mean, by the time it comes out, it's sequel to a game that plays very much like Left 4 Dead. I think that's the best way to put it. Because I don't know whether I'm like, it was like so strict, like you don't record it, don't take images, don't talk about how it plays, don't talk about the characters, don't talk about how gameplay, don't talk about the skill sets. Like, okay, cool, this is great. I just want to play the game. It's fine. I'll behave. So I need to play it tomorrow. So I need to try and balance that. And
today's economy, it's really hard not to do those kinds of things. You know, like my PS4 is passively recording an hour of gameplay as I play anything. You know, all I have to do is hit the share button and be like, "Yo, my friends on Facebook, I'd like to show you this game that I'm playing," and they're like, "Oh, cool. Let me tell my friend about it." And then it's like instantly explodes and becomes viral. And it's like, "Oh, so and so is making this cool new game," or "Isn't this cool new game totally sexist?" And it's like, "What happened?"
It's like, I've made a huge mistake.
Yeah, I haven't made a mistake.
But yeah, so I'll be probably playing the shit out of that tomorrow, as long as I can get it.
That's cool.
I need to download it though. So, but anyway, yes. So fuck, we were talking also about really cool games.
Well, apologies. Yeah. I'm still 10 minutes behind you guys. I'm wondering what a Flamesack does.
When I said Flamesack, I mean like a biological sack filled with either flammable liquid or whatever that's like on this T-Rex's face. Yeah. And then it's like it just like exudes that, and then fire comes out. You know, like on a natural level, like it has a natural flamethrower gas tank. On
it is kind of like the kerosene pouch to the lit flame of the flamethrower.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's a naturally occurring phenomenon.
Yeah, it's a way to make the
It ejaculates fire out of its face.
Yeah, pretty much. It's a way to make this giant scary T-Rex even more scary.
Much scarier. And wings. It flies. It's like, whoa, where'd those wings come from? It's like membranes shoot out its back. And it's like, that's so unnatural. Whoosh, oh God, what are we doing here? It's pretty great. What isn't great though, and what isn't great is that I have a male character. My brother has a female character, but whatever. I have the bone armor on, and the bone armor doesn't have pants. So when you have to like crawl underneath like a small thing, you know, you have like that Metal Gear Solid 5 moment where you just like you see nothing but man ass as he's climbing underneath. And it's like and my brother's like, "Oh, I don't mind it at all. I have a female character." Like, shut up.
I got a good ass. Shut up. Rub it in. My character's 62.
To people who are not me. Actually, he looks like so grizzled. He's like shaved head, like 2 stars over his eyes, long ratty beard. He's like, "I've hunted monsters, you know." Like, I'm wearing bits of them as we speak.
I like to cut pieces of him off and stick him to my body.
I fashioned some pantaloons out of a Flamesack.
Yes.
Flamesack pantaloons.
They're called hot pants.
Resistant to fire attacks. Don't know how that works considering they're made out of material, but shut the fuck up.
Oh man, what was the other thing I was going to say? I don't remember now. Oh well. Forget it.
Well, I'd like to talk for a little while about Netflix originals.
Okay.
I saw a good one and I saw a bad one, and I thought I'd talk about them.
Oh,
go ahead.
Please do tell.
Yeah, so I saw a bad one. It was called The Open House.
Open house.
I'm already disinterested.
The open house.
Well, basically, long story short, I don't know if you guys have ever seen a film called The Strangers.
Nope.
Heard of it.
Okay. Well, it's kind of like The Strangers. Anyone else who's heard of that movie, they'll know what to expect. Basically, it's one of these. It's got it starts out okay. The actors are all right. The cinematography is nice. You know, anything like shot original for Netflix usually looks quite nice. But
I have seen that. Okay, yeah.
Oh, you have seen The Strangers. So
yeah.
basically, the plot of The Strangers is some people rock up and they torture and kill like a couple, and then the twist at the end is, they're just normal people. They do this all the time. There's no reason why they did it. They're just crazy.
And it's scary. It's so scary.
Yeah.
We should do it again sometime. They drive away. Yeah, I remember.
They did,
really
and it's
fun.
called The Open House. And
Ooh,
it was just it infuriated me because it had enough of the elements kind of in place to not be bad, like to be passable, as serviceable as a movie. And then in the ending, fuck it, I'm going to spoil it. Everyone dies.
3.3 out of 10. So
yeah, it's getting quite a lot of backlash because I believe because of the ending. Because the ending is pretty much just everybody dies, and guess what? You don't even get to know who it was this time.
Oh, I've heard of that. Yeah, that Red Letter Media They talked about that on the Half the Bag, and he was like, "It's a whodunit where you don't find out who did it."
Yeah, it's
What the fuck?
Yep, it is.
Also,
to the point where it's filmed deliberately so that you cannot see the face of this person, but everyone reacts to the person, so they clearly do have a face of some kind. It's just
nothing but darkness.
we're not privy to this information exactly. So
and
in some instances it's kind of like because this guy had his dad get killed at the start of the movie, and him and his mother they moved to a house that is owned by some friends or some family or something like that. It's one of their like vacation homes.
Yeah.
And basically they kind of live in it, but every Sunday there's an open house where they have to fuck off because like the estate agents come in and strangers walk around their house. And so the whole idea is like, oh, the house is open, so I guess anyone could have come in and hid, and now they're walking around in the house, that kind of thing. And then at the end, so I was thinking, I reckon the killer is the dad that was supposedly killed.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah, so I was
that's
sitting
the
there
dumbest
thinking
thing they
that. I was
could do.
thinking, it's either that, or you kind of you're trying to anticipate the twist. You're going like, maybe it's the kid. Maybe he's doing it himself. He's fucked up in the head. And
it's a bit personality.
No, it's just some guy who apparently goes to open houses because that's where he likes to kill people.
That's terrible.
And we don't even get to see like his face at all.
I mean, I'm reading the tagline as well, and it's
You can't lock out what's already inside.
Yeah.
That's terrible. And you just know the people that wrote this were just going, oh, I've got it, Suzanne, because one of the writers was called Suzanne Coote. So, what is it, Matt? And he's like, I've got it, Suzanne. Like, we don't reveal who the killer is. Like, it's genius, because that's how everyone wants in the murder mystery movie. Yeah, we don't know who it is. That
won't alienate people who've dedicated an hour and a half to this track.
Yeah, if you're gonna, I mean, if there's ways to do it where you just leave it open, you're like, but you've got to be so smart, and it's got to be written so well that it gives you strands where you think it could have been them, but maybe it was them.
The thing is, there are red herrings in the film, and you're kind of like, oh, maybe it's the weird neighbor because she's kind of like wandering around at night and she yells at them and stuff. But then you find out, oh, she just has got kind of like Alzheimer's. She's not like that kind of, she's on her own. Her husband died, but she doesn't remember that he died. So all her crazy behavior can actually be attributed to something normal, and she's not the killer. But then like if you're gonna piss about with red herrings, like. It annoys me so much, not because like I can deal with ambiguous endings, right? I can deal with it going, maybe it was this, maybe it was that, but to not actually say anything at all, to just kind of go, oh yeah, so someone turned up, killed them all, and is carried on now to the next open house, I guess, because open houses are creepy.
Because that's how open houses work, right?
Yeah, anyone can just walk in and turn the heating off, which is what this guy was doing. He was turning the heating off, so that the kid's mum just kept like going downstairs in the middle of her shower because she was cold.
What?
And then and then she turns on her son and she's like, "Could you please stop fucking with the heating?" And he's like, "I didn't fuck with the heating." And then she's like, "Shut up." And then he's like, "I wish you'd died instead of Dad." And it's like, whoa,
God.
Whoa, that got dark quick.
Forced character drama. This thing, if you're going to have an ending like that where you don't reveal who the killer is, I think the best way you've got to do is you've got to have a large cast, and not everyone dies.
Yeah.
Because then you've got to leave it up to like, well, there's like 5 of them alive. It could have been any of them. Not just like, well, they all die, and it's just some random guy.
Exactly.
We have subverted your expectations. Speaking of expectations, sorry, I wanted to interject this because I think it's important to the discussion. Yes. To me, an open house is a house that's on sale and you can walk into it but not live in it. Isn't that what an open house is to you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of. I think in this country, what would happen is people would arrange to have viewings, and I guess you could have an open house and say that the house is going to be open from this hour to this hour. Anyone can come, and who's interested in buying it can come and look at it. But the people in this movie have keys, and they keep like going boo and making jump scares happen because they happen to still be in the building when the other guys turn up, and it's just I don't think they quite know how open houses work.
Yeah, because he said she was taking a shower, and I'm like, you don't take a shower in an open house.
No.
You go in, you dress your best, you dress like you look like you can buy a house, and then you try to treat with the real estate agent who's there waiting for you to talk to them for like 10, 20 minutes, and then you go home because that's it. You're done.
Yeah,
then you treat with the real estate agent later on and say, I'd like to buy that house, and there you go.
Well,
There's no, I'm going to stay here. Yeah. You don't get to test drive the house.
The implication, I think, is that apparently the person could have come in when the open house was on and just stayed in the house. And that's kind of the premise.
It's so stupid. Like the real estate agent be like, okay, so wait, where's Tom? Where is? Do you know what? For fuck's sake! And you go back in and look for him. Like, Tom, stop hiding in the cupboard. Get out! It's like, fuck. Kill people.
Yeah, knives belong in the kitchen. What are you doing with this?
Yeah,
stupid.
I was just holding it.
You know they were thinking they were being so profound when they wrote that. Like, yeah, you don't even get to see him. Like, yeah, you wasted my fucking time.
Like a post on I'm 14 and this is deep on Reddit.
It was like I was talking to my girlfriend earlier about like a lot of modern horror. We watched a trailer for it's Emily Blunt's in it. It's something generic like A Quiet Place or something like that, and it's like monsters killing everyone and you can't make any sound, but there's a scene where she's in a bathtub and she's having contractions because she's pregnant, and it's like, it's boring. And it's the trailer's set up but everything, so it's like fade in, fade out, fade in, fade out. Music ramps up,
single piano key echoes.
Yeah. And she's like, and it goes flicker, 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 and it goes back and forth. It's like, it's so intense. I've never seen a trailer like this before. And then it's a loud noise, and then The Quiet Place. It's like, that looks so generic. We were talking about Insidious, and I said, not perfect, but I love the fact that it wasn't nothing but jump scares, and it was it's like, wow, they're actually trying to build an atmosphere and telling a story.
Yeah,
and
it had some ideas,
making you creeped out instead of just going boo all the time. And then because there's not that many jump scares in Insidious, and when there are, it works because it's earned them. And I was just saying, wow, I miss horror, like really good horror films being like that, and then I was thinking of Drag Me to Hell, and I remember really loving it until about there's the halfway point where it's when they go to that the seance bit, which is like a discarded scene from Evil Dead, because one of the characters gets possessed and acts like a deadite, and then you do all of that, and then the female, the spiritualist, she dies, and then the other spiritualist basically turns around and said, oh yeah, it probably wouldn't have worked anyway. And you're like, you've just wasted like 15 minutes on something that wouldn't have worked anyway, and then they go on to give her a way out. I'm like, would you just fucking tell her that in the first place? But waste my time. And then it got so just boring, because then all it was just jump scares, to the point where a handkerchief was treated as a jump scare. And I don't know if both of you have seen it, but the ending was, me and my friend were laughing in the cinema at the end because it was so like contrived and stupid, and the main character was such an idiot.
I haven't seen it.
I thought you meant like the ending of the movie was you and your friend were laughing. Like that's how it was on the screen.
Oh yeah, that was it. They were like, everyone caught fire. It was like Parasite Eve, and everyone combusted.
I haven't seen it, but
the ending.
You've just told me there's handkerchiefs in it, so I definitely won't watch it because that sounds terrifying.
It was just like she's in a car driving, and it goes bam, and you're like, what is going on? What is going on? And it's a jump scare. And all it was just loud noises constantly, and all the tension and everything just went completely out of the window. It was like, this is like being sat in a room with the lights kind of dim, and then every now and then the lights will go off, and then someone will just scream in my face and then run off. Like, that's not. After a while, you're like, oh god, this is going. And you go, okay, it's getting annoying now. Stop.
Yeah, it's not scary. It's annoying.
You're like, fuck off.
I think, that the open house has got a couple of jump scares in it. It relies on them. And the thing I hate about jump scares the most is I think it feels earned when something happening suddenly on the screen makes me feel scared in a kind of like a... What's the way I'm kind of think? Like in in an emotional or kind of like brain pattern sense, like this thing is scary, as opposed to my inbuilt like caveman, like the way my body is just built is if I see something suddenly appear out of nowhere, it could be in broad daylight, you know. You ever seen those videos, you guys, on YouTube, where like there's a cat sat down and someone puts a cucumber or a banana behind the cat,
Yeah,
and then the cat sees it and flies.
Yeah.
That's inbuilt like reflexes that kind of every biological thing has to kind of go, oh shit, must protect self. Yeah,
fight or flight.
So
it's like that really funny video of it's like a high school in America, and these guys like they're interviewing that really tall black kid.
Yeah,
and it's Halloween. The guy jumps out of the bin and scares him. And he just turns around and punches him in the face.
Oh, I love that.
Because it was his first instinct, and it's beautiful. And that's how I feel with unwarranted jump scares. I just want to punch the director.
Yeah, I feel
like,
there's
you have
a
not
difference.
earned this.
There's a difference between you have scared me on a psychological level, and you have just made my reflexes like go bang.
Yeah,
literally turn on like a switch. So
and that's why I think the jump scares in like the Babadook worked, because the best jump.
Oh, that was so good.
Because it's the one where it's in the woman next door's lounge, and it's just it's not even a musical sting, but you can see it, and it's creepy. Or
that's the worst kind of thing as well, is the ones where you have to kind of. I think it's those screamers on the internet.
I hate them so much.
From the olden days, yeah. So it's like anytime something makes me intently kind of focus on one thing for a while, I'm secretly shitting myself the entire time, like something's going to change or go boo.
And it's not, and then I'm completely taken out of the scene, because I'm instead of like watching what's going on, I'm going, okay, when is it going to make another loud noise? Where's it going to come from? That's why I think Insidious Word was there's that really good moment. I remember when she hears the voice on the baby monitor, and she goes up, and you can see something in the corner of the room, and there's no orchestral jump, but you see it, and you're like, there's something there. Oh god, there's something there. Or
that's the best.
Or the little boy. Remember the little boy as well? Was that Insidious as well? When
he was wearing the hat, he was like in where the coats were hanging.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah, that was good. I will give it that.
You go, what the fuck was that? Yeah. Instead of like going, instead your brain notices something. You go, well, should that be there? It's creepy, but
what was good about that is that she like walked by it and it was just coats. When she walked by it again, it was just coats and a boy.
Yeah, and you're like,
oh,
wait, because the first time I saw it, I was like, was there something there? I feel like something round the back. It's creepy. That's good, but screaming in my face, not so good. Unless you has to earn it. I think if a movie earns it, because there is a good jump scare in that when the horn demon is the one that's it's not horn demon, the red demon that's after his son. Appears behind him. There's an orchestral jump, score to accompany it, but the fact is that it's just a really creepy visual anyway.
Yeah,
and it's screaming; it's just behind him, and so it earns it. That earns it. It's when it's cheap and just making a loud bang noise and something going. Like
which is half of the open house. Trust me, it's just like there's an estate agent still in the house, so they walk through a doorway and this other estate agent goes bang, like comes out. Like no one in their entire life does that.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know you were here. So you just walk around slamming doors?
Yeah, at least they don't do it without somebody challenging him. Like, are you serious? Why'd you slam that door? Were you born in a barn? Those kinds of things.
You say, like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I'm sorry, Jesus. Like, I want a movie like that. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Like when my favourite one is, oh god, I thought something creepy. And instead of like when people communicate, they say, "Hey, how's it going?" They don't just put their arms on someone and go, "Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to scare you." Like, what are you doing? Who does that?
Yeah, nobody does that unless you're like in a SWAT team situation where somebody pats you on the shoulder to let you know that they're coming around you and please don't kill you. Those kinds of things, that's fine. But yeah, most people don't do that. What's the other Netflix movie you were talking about, Tom?
Yes.
Oh, it was called The Babysitter, and that was quite good. It's kind of like a dark comedy. It's not. I don't think you can really call it a horror film, although there is kind of like murder and blood and stuff in it.
Is it?
It's really good.
McG. It's by McG.
Yeah, I don't know who McG is, but like, I guess he must be famous as McG to be called McG.
McG. He gets a lot of flag.
Okay.
He made the Charlie's Angels films, but he also did Terminator Salvation, which I don't hate. and I think he gets a lot of. I think people like always say, "Oh, it's like Michael Bay." I'm like, when you see him interviewed, you can see that he actually gives a shit.
Yeah, well, I wonder if it was his original idea, or if it was someone else's, because it might just be that he's a very competent film director, but he's come across like some stinker ideas and had to make trash. The Babysitter is really good. I don't want to say too much about it, actually, because I don't want to kind of ruin it. I went in thinking it was kind of like this dark comedy horror film, but I was actually kind of shocked at the fact that I did actually laugh out loud a couple of times.
Wow.
For everybody who like watches stuff, like usually I never actually physically laugh, even though I might set like in my head I'm thinking, that was funny. You just kind of smirk. Like this was proper actually, whoa, I'm laughing out loud kind of moments. And the pacing is weird. Like it's a very interesting movie because in the middle I was expecting it. Basically, there's this kind of setup. The basic setup is that there's this kid. He's kind of a nerd. He has a really cool babysitter though, who's like a couple years older than him, and she's conventionally very attractive. So
yes, he's got like the crush and like the stereotype.
And it's the whole she's stopping over, and then there's a twist involved that basically once he's gone to bed, she has some friends come around, and I guess it's not spoiling it because it's in the little paragraph you get on Netflix, but essentially they're kind of like Satanists, I guess, or
oh shit,
like, yeah, they're interested in the occult. Let's put it that way, enough to maybe fulfill prophecies or whatever.
Yeah.
So I kind of went in knowing that, but halfway through, you're expecting this kind of thing where the kid knows some stuff and they don't know the kid knows it because the kid kind of sneaks down and sees it happen. And then this kind of cat and mouse game almost you kind of expect to happen, and it doesn't happen that way at all. The pace is weird because then suddenly he's ends up killing people, like trying to escape, and a baddie stops halfway through trying to kill him so that he can stand up for himself against a bully, and then goes back to chasing him to try and kill him after that. It's really interesting, and I would just say give it a, if you're paying for Netflix anyway, just give it a shot. I found it quite enjoyable.
I like the poster, looks really nice as well. It's a really cool, really retro poster.
There was some nice visual flair. I mean, they kind of did the Scott Pilgrim thing. There were a couple like on-screen graphics, kind of like when someone's going through a list. Say, for instance, they were kind of playing this game where they were talking about like who would your 5 people that you would pick to take on a space mission be. So that, like the girl goes like Kirk, Picard, and they're like appearing on the screen, like a list and stuff.
Oh yeah.
So. Yeah, it's not really a spoiler, but the kid says Captain Adama first thing, and I was like, yes, because I love Battlestar Galactica more than is strictly healthy, and Captain Adama.
It's like, yeah,
like I just sort of imagine you pulling a Captain Adama Dakimakura pillow closer to you when you said that.
Yes,
it's like,
okay, well, it's full body pillows.
It's not just me.
It's more like a taxidermied gorilla.
Jesus.
Yeah, no, seriously, have you guys never seen Battlestar Galactica? Because Adama is like this. He's like the silverbacked like gorilla captain of.
Well, I'm gonna Google him now. I mean,
yeah, I've got to see him.
With that kind of endorsement,
Captain.
Basically, he is like he's got balls of iron. Okay, he like
of steel.
Yeah, he will take command of a ship in a completely hopeless situation, and will fight to the last missile. Like he's you want him in charge, right? But he's also he's kind and caring, and he's misunderstood, and even like he will say stuff and go over the line in a situation, and then realize he did go over the line and like apologize. He's not above that. He's like this beautiful, like he's like Papa Bear, like in charge of the spaceship.
I just want what's best for you.
He's a beautiful man, and
it makes him feel human.
He just has a sad face on all the time.
He does.
Stern as shit.
You know that kind of like sad gorilla look? He has that down. Like as an actor, he can do that. But I would highly recommend Battlestar Galactica, and some people didn't even like the ending. I liked the ending, so Yeah, I can definitely recommend that because I like my spaceship shows are gritty. I like them with people who feel like real people who are dysfunctional rather than kind of, everyone is an asexual, logical being and we're on a space trip where everyone gets along.
It's always boring when everyone's a genius.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I'm sorry, the physicist would not know how to would not be as good at fixing the engine as the engineer.
Right.
I know astrophysics. You're the medic. What are you doing?
No. See, at Starfleet Academy, they have this well-rounded university where everyone learns a lot of everything, but most of one thing, and that's what they end up going in. I just made that shit up. I don't even know.
I know. Exactly. Could you imagine the can of worms that would open up in the real world? Because be like, wait, why is he in charge? I did the same training. I know the same things he does. I'm probably better at it. Get back and do the dishes. You're the cook. Yeah. I know how to fly the ship.
Well, yeah, and so I think I would describe Battlestar Galactica as it's not a science fiction. Well, it is a science fiction show, but it's not science fiction show first. It's like almost like a military drama first.
Yeah.
It could easily be taking place like in World War II, I guess. It's just some of the kind of like the logistics would be different. Well, actually, more accurately, the Cold War as well, because it's like the whole idea is that the Cylons could be anybody, and everyone is suspicious. Oh, it's so good. Might just go on about Battlestar Galactica
be
for a
suspicious?
He should be. He should be suspicious of everyone, the poor bastard.
I would watch a film called Being what's his name? Edward James Olmos. Yeah, he's the guy who plays
Okay.
Captain Adama.
Is that James Olmos?
Yeah. Have I mentioned that I really, really like Battlestar Galactica?
Not yet. Could you go ahead?
Good. I will now launch into my well-prepared 2 hour. But yeah, and The Babysitter was good. I'd suggest checking it out, especially if you've got Netflix already.
Yeah, I'll stick it on. I'll stick it on my list, and I'll avoid the open house like a house on fire. I didn't mean to say that. I actually didn't mean that. I also need to watch those two.
A House
Stephen
on
King
Fire
ones.
would have more narrative conclusions. Like
be more entertaining. I need to watch those two.
Someone set it on fire. It burned out.
Like,
done.
hey, we got some
happened.
fireworks. It was great. I need to watch those two Stephen King ones as well.
Yes, they're quite good. I highly recommend those. Please watch them because I guess if enough people watch them, they'll make more stuff like that.
Make more good things.
Yes.
Less Marvel. I don't care about.
Yes, we've had enough Marvel for a while.
I don't care about Daredevil. Fuck, I care about Daredevil.
Well, I'm gonna watch season 1 of Daredevil just so that I can then watch The Punisher, which I hear is very good.
Oh yeah, I've heard that. Even if it's just basically like an alternate reality of Shane from The Walking Dead. Where
yeah, that's exactly how I'm going to treat it. It's fine. It's fine.
When Rick shot him, he just was transported to an alternate dimension. That's actually what happens when they die in Walking Dead. They go on to star in Marvel.
They wake up in other shows. Yeah, because Sasha is in the new 10. Star Trek.
It was like the governor. He's like, well, he was killed, and now he's in ancient Rome. So
yeah, everyone's actually just a dream. And then they dream themselves into the far-flung future of their actual setting. And so,
oh my god, Chris, you actually almost quoted season 3 of Twin Peaks there.
Really? Because that's
we
what
are the dreamers who live inside the dream.
Great.
Are we the dreamers?
Yeah.
Great.
David Lynch is mental. But yes,
so being John Malkovich.
Yes, to be fair, I did postpone.
What a subtle segue.
Talk about insanity. Let's talk about Being John Malkovich.
Yeah. So, Chris, why did you pick this movie?
Because I haven't seen it in a long time, and I remember it being completely bizarre, and I wanted to see Malkovich, you know? I wanted to see that shit again. I didn't, like I said outside of our podcast, I only remembered the Malkovich scene and then credits. I don't really remember, a lot of what was going on. In fact, I do remember that intro puppet scene when he's on the streets. And I remembered that being far more explicit. So when the kid is watching the puppet show, going like, what? And he's just like humping the wall with the puppet. I remember that being much, much more explicit, but I'm glad it wasn't, thankfully. I also didn't realize that Cameron fucking Diaz was in the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, she's a mousy animal geek. It's
Yeah.
awesome. She was like not Cameron Diaz the entire movie. I was really surprised.
It reminded me that she was, because she doesn't do a lot now. She doesn't seem to really give a shit either. But
Why would she? Yeah.
I was like, wow, she's fucking good here.
According to the IMDb page, you know how accurate they can be.
Yeah.
Apparently, some people on the movie didn't know it was her and thought she was just some kind of like strange person who turned up and was kind of like watching them film the movie.
Yes, I did read that. Yeah, it was like because the makeup job is fucking amazing. It's amazing what a change of hair can do to someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lack of facial makeup.
Yeah.
Like, she didn't wear anything that accentuated anything. She looked just like a normal person.
She
looked
really baggy clothes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, really baggy clothes. She looked just like what she's supposed to look like, which was just really crazy. I couldn't believe it.
Really good makeup job.
Yeah, but yeah, so I chose this movie because I remember it being a bizarre movie. I don't remember it being a horror movie. I do remember, like, people go into John Malkovich's head, literally, like, quite literally, and it's really fun because it's like, yeah, that's what the movie's about, and then you could tell somebody who's never seen that movie, they'd be like, wait, but they go into his head? Yes, they go into his head, and they become John Malkovich for 15 minutes. So, like, do they physically cram their body? No, there's a hole in the office complex. It's only, like, 4.5 feet from floor to ceiling. It's really strange. But they find an even smaller door that you can crawl into, and it leads into John Malkovich's head. And like, yeah, but, well, how does it, like, is it like a tunnel that goes all the way to... No. It's like this wet, membranous dirt hole that, when you're on the other end of it, you're in John Malkovich's head. And then, and like, the person would be like, well, no, that doesn't make any sense. Well, you're going to have to see the movie. But, like, you said that, yeah, I know what I said, and everything I said is true.
But it costs $200.
Yeah, and they go,
it costs $200. Yeah.
And then they go, but what happens afterwards? Oh, they get spat out at a New Jersey turnpike. Sorry, what? Yeah, they just fly outside.
How nobody died doing that. It's crazy. Like, nobody fell on their neck and died on the New Jersey Turnpike.
Because I couldn't remember everything. There's two things that always stuck with me. One was the Malkovich scene, and the ending always stuck with me because that's one thing that's depressing and frightening. But when he got to the bit with he wasn't even that fat. The guy was just like, oh, thank you so much. I'm so fat and horrible. And like,
yeah.
And when he fell, I was like, oh shit, that looked nasty. I'm like, oh, he's right. Jeez,
yeah.
Man. What about when it's a dry day?
Yeah.
Clump, broken back, concussion. Ooh. Where have they land on their head?
Like, watching this movie again, I was very pleased with how it paced itself, because I didn't remember a lot of the beginning. I remember the puppet show. I remember the girl being like, what's that? And then the dad punching John Cusack in the face for showing a really explicit puppet show, which, why would you do that? And then, like, I remember the Malkovich scene, I remember whatever, but I didn't remember how it transferred from him going to get the job, finding the hole, getting in the hole, and then, like, what happened between then and the Malkovich scene. But I'm very happy that it wasn't just like, oh, this is my personal secret and I can't tell anybody for, like, 25 minutes of the movie. He just goes straight to Maxine, who is, like, he's, like, trying to cheat on his wife with, and she won't have anything to do with him. And just tells her, like, yo, I found this amazing thing. And she believes him, so they go and they do it, and then she doesn't even get into the whole, like, really ever, does she? I don't think she even gets into...
No, she doesn't.
Yeah, she never once goes in there, but she's fully on board with believing this even exists. Enough so that she's charging people $200 to get into John Malkovich's head. And then John Cusack's character, or Craig Schwartz, Schwartz, like, goes to his wife and says, blah blah blah. We have this thing that, like, my partner, quotation marks, and I are going to be doing, and we're going to get $200 a pop, and we're going to solve our financial problems. And then Lot being his wife, is like, so you can get into a hole that leads into John Malkovich's head. And he's like, yes. I'm like, he just told her? Like, we're not wasting any time, like, flipping around or beating around the bush. He's just, like, sharing all the true information. Wow. Now I'm like, what's going to happen next? Sorry.
I have one issue with Craig's deduction skills, and that is that he only goes through it once, and then he goes, oh, it puts you in the mind of John Malkovich, and it always spits you out at the New Jersey Turnpike. And I was like, you've been through this once, you have no idea what happens. Like, it could be someone different every time. It could spit you out somewhere different every time. I was kind of like, I get it. It's a convenience of the plot to just go, yeah, it always does this, not seeing him do it like
of the plot, but also like if it really happened to you and you're like, I was in John Malkovich's head and then I ended up on the New Jersey Turnpike. I think that the incredulousness of this thing that just happened would probably like dampen your investigative skills. You might
God damn it, what happened to the scientific method?
Yeah. Well, it went out the window when you went out John Malkovich's head. You know?
Yeah, that's fair enough. But it's funny you should say about remembering stuff, because I'd seen this film long ago. I think probably when I was around like 14 or 15.
Wait. Did you see it in the long ago?
Yeah, in the before times. And, back when we used to like bang rocks together to make the TV turn on.
It's like 2 years ago?
Yeah, 2 years ago. And I remember, literally all I remembered about this movie is that there was a passageway in an office building that went to John Malkovich's head. I remembered the Malkovich scene, and I remembered that the ending was not good. That's literally all I could remember about it. So when we were like 20, 30 minutes in and we hadn't even got to the Malkovich portal yet, I was like, is this the movie where that happens?
See, that's the thing. I completely forgot about the low ceiling in the office. I completely forgot. Of all the...
yeah.
It's like, that's a pretty weird thing.
They had the whole kind of like orientation video as well.
Oh man, that orientation video was cringe-worthy.
It's brilliant, isn't it? Like, you're like, oh, this is great.
Yeah, he's like,
poor wench, I'll marry you.
And he's like, I shall create a floor for you and your kind who have to suffer from this horrible curse. Like, it's true love, lads.
Yeah, like instant true love. He goes from like general disdain for her existence to I'm going to marry you and build a floor in my office complex that's 4.5 feet tall so you can walk upright and be like a normal person.
What's he says to her? He's like, I do not give, what is it? You will not get my charity. Be gone with you, wench, or something.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm a midget. Like, I love you.
And then changes his mind on the spot.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
It's really crazy. Like watching like the first 45 minutes of this, I was like, this is like an absurdist comedy. I am sorry, there's no horror elements here whatsoever, no psych thriller nonsense. This is just stupid funny. Because I'm laughing now. I'm laughing at Charles Schwartz's like fumbling attempts at like cheating on his wife. I'm laughing at the fact that she is so bold to him, just so bold. Like, oh, you don't think I'm attractive? He's like, oh, I totally want to fuck you. She's like, oh, dog, if you can keep your mind out of the gutter long enough, you can, we can talk or whatever. And it's like she just flips the coin over and over again, just like playing with him the whole time. It's almost unrealistic, but whatever. That's part of the movie, and I think it's good for accelerating the plot to where it needs to get to instead of messing around with the whole affair thing. But I love that little fucking 4.5 foot tall office complex. I just love seeing the vending machine in there, and the dude's like with his cocked neck, just like trying to, oh, what soda do I get today?
Yeah, everyone's just walking around like it's completely normal.
Like, I remember when I first saw this, like that part just interested me the most. I'm like, there's no fucking way a crowbar to pry open the elevator just to get to work. What?
I love it. So he gets in and he's like, look at her. She's like, you want 7.5? Don't worry, I'll do it for you. She's like, gets the crowbar.
Yeah, I love that there's you can tell that the crowbar lives there. They do a close-up of the doors and you can see there are like several marks.
Oh, man.
It's great. And like, he's just like, he's quizzical about it to begin with, then just accepts. He's like, oh, okay, that's weird.
Yeah, that's what we do now. You know? And even if you were to sit down in a chair in that complex, it would still feel like you're bending over too much.
Yeah, he'd be like freaking out. The scene's too low. It's like thinking about the Maxine. Like, she's such a hateable character as well. Really,
absolutely.
Horrible. I mean, they're all horrible, really. The only person I feel sorry for, I kind of feel sorry for Craig at the end, kind of, because he's clearly been manipulated. But I feel sorry for John Malkovich again, but
yeah, I feel sorry for John Malkovich.
Yeah,
I think I'm going to put a full stop at the end of that.
Yeah,
I do agree that Craig it does get kind of screwed over at the end, but that's after spending 9 months inside John Malkovich.
So, yeah, but it's that he's been manipulated by Maxine, really alternatively, because I think I'd never believe her at all. Like, even when she apologizes at the end to
Lottie or something like that.
Yeah, I don't believe her, Because she's like, you've been 9 months. You were alright with that though, weren't you? But there's a moment where Lottie phones up and says, "No, you don't understand. Like, it hasn't been me in his body because they have a relationship, but only when Lottie's in John Malkovich's body, which is so fucking weird." And she's like, "No, I don't realize it has been me. It's been Craig." And she's like, "Oh," and then she goes, "Wait," and then she says something like really quickly that you can miss, and she just says, "Wait, if that means he can control Malkovich, it means I can control Craig."
Yes.
You're like, "Fuck, you're horrible."
Yeah.
Fucking evil.
Yep. And then she leaves Lottie in the dust, but in the end, she really loved her all this time. Oh.
Yeah, and I'm like, are we supposed to feel good for them? Like, I hate all of 3 of these people.
Yeah.
Even the older people, I'm like, you selfish people.
Yeah, Lester. I mean, now Lester and company control John Malkovich, I guess, at the end.
Yeah, like, it's like he's lost. He's not John Malkovich doesn't exist anymore. Like his personality's gone.
Right.
Like, that's horrible. We're supposed to be like, oh, these old people, they're like, no, they're all selfish people.
Yeah, like you don't even know who to root for throughout the entire movie. Like, you're kind of on Craig's side a little bit because he's just like this sappy, like nonsense puppet master who just wants to get his work recognized. Like that's his main motivation. He just wants people to look at him.
He's a tortured artist.
Yeah,
and he's good.
Yeah,
he's good as well.
Someone is good.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if John Cusack is a good puppeteer. Is what I'm saying, but I get what you're saying.
Maybe
like
he's good.
Like when he made that one puppet do like a forward flip, like roll thing. That was pretty awesome. I do like that. Someone not John Cusack is a great puppeteer, and he did not get recognized for his work in this movie. But I'm kind of you might want to look him up actually if there is an actual puppeteer or John Cusack took puppeteering lessons and mastered the art. I don't know.
That'd be badass.
I think they had a substitute puppeteer.
You think?
Yeah,
maybe it was
the
Malkovich.
IMDb page said. That's the ultimate twist.
Yeah, like his career as a movie and film actor is what took off, but he always really wanted to do puppeteering, so he made this movie to have the chance to do puppeteering on cinema. That's what was going on.
So I love that whole thing. Like, he's gonna stop being an actor and now he's a puppeteer. And people would be like, "Oh, that's just I can't. That's so silly. I can't see him doing like." There have been some actors that have been very pretentious, and they would do something like that. I can't remember. There's been actors where like, "I'm not going to act anymore. I'm going to be a singer or I'm going to be a boxer." Like Mickey Rourke. He's a really good actor, and he's like, "No, I'm going to be a boxer now." All went wrong, and now he looks like someone slapped loads of ham on his face.
Ham.
And he went, and then he went through a long time of not having a career, and then made The Wrestler, which was basically almost a biopic. But the actors do weird things to stay relevant, and not that John Malkovich would need to stay relevant because he's fucking great, but
can I just say I kind of have a little bit of a man crush on John Cusack in this movie. He basically looks like how I'm kind of like styling myself. Except his hair's longer and he's got like a better beard than me.
This
is not fair.
This is the second time we've had John Cusack on the cast as well.
It is. I was saying this to Keanu as we were watching it. 1408, of course, was the previous episode.
Right, yeah.
He's really
also
incidentally one of your
chose.
choices.
That's right. Yeah.
He's really good. Because his 2 roles are completely fucking different.
Yeah. Yeah,
really
that's
good.
true. Yeah, wow. I'm pretty great at choosing movies. Anyway.
I'm the best.
I am the best.
Hey.
But yeah, like the only thing that I kind of wish that they changed was like the Lottie and Maxine relationship thing. Like I guess I shouldn't say I want them to change it. I just really don't like Maxine. I don't like her, not as a person or a character. I mean, not as an actress, but like as a character. She's just an awful character. And when she ends up with Lottie at the end and they have like a baby that was fathered by Lottie through John Malkovich and Maxine, and I'm like, what? Like, I almost don't even want that to have ever happened.
And also, I don't see what they see in her.
Yeah.
I'm like, they both like fall head over heels in love with her. I'm just like, she's pretty, but she's so hateable and unlikable.
Yeah, that can
like,
really ruin some good makeup. Let me tell you, if you're just a shit person.
Yeah, exactly. Like you can be like one of the most beautiful people in the world, but if you're just nasty, that's just out the window. Because it's like, oh god, I don't want to listen to you talk.
Yeah,
I don't want to look at you anymore. And I just didn't, because she's comically evil, I think, to an extent. I mean, the film's very quirky and strange anyway, but that was one thing I'm just like, I don't see why either of them have fallen for her. There should have been... I know it's like very silly, it's about people going into the mind of an actor for 15 minutes, but I still think there should have been ways to show why they would fall head over heels in love with her, like so easily, that, like, to be so, I just want to do it for you, and blah 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 blah.
Like if she was more of a seductress or something.
Yeah.
Like if she was a more confident and like charming, like romantic person, and Lottie not getting that from Craig would like latch on to Maxine a little bit, and then like going through John Malkovich and then like having an intimate relationship with her that confused her, that would still work to the end of the movie. I think.
I guess maybe it's just that she's kind of exotic and glamorous, and they do have a very kind of like almost platonic, neutral relationship with no kind of glamorousness or.
The only other thing I can think of is that Maxine, is a selfish, controlling person, much like the puppeteer John Cusack would be with his own puppets.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of this is like a game of Othello with who's controlling who, puppet mastery and that kind of stuff. And it's interesting when John Cusack, who's the one beginning with like the subtle seeds of manipulation, like grows into meeting Maxine, tries to control her, and she will have none of it. And then his own relationship goes spiraling out of control until he can finally get a hold of it, but only through being John Malkovich, And then at the end of the movie, he has zero control whatsoever. Because
he's kind of Emily. A passive observer in someone else's life now.
Oh, that's that ending always really stuck with me.
I'd forgotten it entirely, but now it's like powerful,
Gee, yeah, it's the one thing that always stuck with me about the ending was when he's just saying, "Look away, please, look away."
Yeah.
Like, gee, that's horrible. Like he's done horrible things, but it's like that's so. That's horrible. It's so terrifying. Oh, the thought of that is frightening, beyond like all comprehension. Being stuck like immovable, all you can do is watch.
Yeah, it's very kind of like an existential horror.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Thank you. Horror.
Yeah,
some of it.
We got there.
I would say one thing as well. Like, my when we finished watching, my girlfriend brought it up. I was like, for 1999, wow, they really were brave in the whole gender roles thing, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she just says like, I've realised that I'm transgender. And you're like, wow, this is 99. Jesus, like fuck. Like, and it's handled in a really interesting. I mean, it's a really strange way anyway. But it's handled in, like, it's not like comical. Like she's like, oh, I'm transgender.
Yeah, it's not necessarily like a punchline. It's
just like
exploring those ideas. Yeah.
I'm like, wow, this movie's nearly 20 years old, and they throw that out there. Like, I mean, Jesus, like for that time, like I mean, I'm surprised that wasn't like a huge like, transgender. Oh, you can't do that. It's strange.
Or why hasn't BuzzFeed picked up the movie? Like, this movie you've never seen has a transgender character in it that you would never expect, and it's got a picture of like Cameron Diaz from The Mask, like looking like all luscious and stuff. Like, and then like click on that, like, what movie was she in? And then they find out about Being John Malkovich.
Yeah, I was going to say,
I'm surprised that's not happened yet.
Ace Ventura: Pet Detective is only like 5. This is only 5 years after Ace Ventura: Pet Detective.
Yeah.
Which it's very dicey if you try to watch it nowadays.
Yeah, you watch it, just like there's that one scene you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
You're like, man, it's depressing. And you watch it, and you're like, oh man, fuck. I feel dirty for the like in other ways now. Like, oh.
Yeah. That's a weird movie now.
Yeah, it really is. It's an awkward watch. There's oh fuck! I said there was one scene that made me laugh so hard. I mean, I laughed a lot during the movie anyway. It was so much. It's far funnier than I remember it being. But there was one scene that made me laugh particularly that I completely forgot. Was when the chimpanzee has a flashback.
Yeah. Oh my god!
It was so funny, and it wasn't the fact he was having a flashback was funny anyway, but then it was the subtitles like, Elijah, please untie myself and your father before they return.
Yeah. They spoke proper like high English, and his name was Elijah before Lonnie had her.
Yeah, I like that it's kind of his given name and he came with it.
I mean, it was one thing if they were like, if the subtitles like help, that's funny, right? It was the fact that it was like, quickly before they return. We must from this face place before our pharaohs returneth. And he's like, I couldn't untie them, but now I must do it. And it's like a big character moment.
Yeah. It's like an anime all of a sudden. I couldn't untie my parents' bonds, but now I have the time. Now I can do it. Ah!
It's like, I'll do it this one time. I'll do it for my parents. Like, yes, the chimpanzee has a character arc.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
And I don't know why I forgot that, because it's so funny.
Well, I'd forgotten all the animals. Like when Cameron Diaz first says, "Can you check on Elijah? I think he's sick." And like John Cusack is like, "Which one's that again?" I was like, "Yeah, which one's that again? Do you have a son?" Oh, it's a monkey. Okay. And that parrot. The parrot was like, wake, time to wake up, Craig. Time to wake up, Craig, or whatever. I was like, oh, he lives alone with a parrot, and the parrot like is kind of his wife. And then like his wife is like, time to wake up, Craig. I'm like, oh no, she's just constantly berating him. So the parrot's picked up on lots of things.
It's like things like that she runs a pet store, presumably. I think that was the implication, wasn't it? 'Cause she was talking about getting deliveries.
I hope she manages it, because she can't possibly afford an apartment just working for it.
No. Even in the 90s.
Yeah.
But it's things like that. So like I'm sat there going, okay, so they have lots of animals, but they don't have a baby together. What does it mean? And I'm sat there thinking, this movie is trying to say something. I feel like it's trying to make some kind of statement. And I feel it does make statements about like art, about voyeurism, about violation. But like I don't know, like I can't with any degree of accuracy actually say the movie is making a statement about those things, like in terms of it's like all these ideas are here, but what, like why?
Well,
why do they live with animals and a chimpanzee who has a flashback sequence?
Yeah, it's
like it means something, but what does it mean?
The whole plot is like jammed into a shotgun. You have like all these elements that just like scatter, but like any one of them are meaningful to somebody who's like, you know, looking for it. And we're looking at it now from a 2018 perspective, where every movie is just critically critically destroyed on a molecular level, you know, where back then like these were just funny jokes probably.
Yeah,
like Ace Ventura was just a bunch of funny jokes. It was never meant to be like, we're criticizing trans people. Look at this person who's a tranny or whatever, or like any of that stuff. So it's just this weird way that we keep looking at movies, and I almost prefer like mid-90s movies because we just didn't care back then. You know, you could just enjoy a movie. But this movie is like, it's just got so many elements that you could almost piece together. But it's like their shapes that just don't match the holes they're supposed to fit in. You know, like we can't just get it all like working, and it's also not supposed to. I don't think these things were supposed to fit together. It was just like, okay, we have a theme of control, so you have the puppet master, which is really cool. I don't want to collect puppets or be a puppet master, but I do kind of like that whole like art thing, that whole concept as somebody who was doing puppets. Like claymation scares the shit out of me for some reason. It's like twitchy and you know, and I've seen like a claymation monster eating a claymation person, and that just makes me feel gross. I can't stand watching it. But at the same time, moving clay pieces frame by frame for like an hour and a half length movie, it's impressive. It's like, gosh, you guys really meant to do this. Congratulations, you know. But so you have like this theme of control with the puppet master, and you have this theme of control from Maxine, who just controls people almost by nature. Then you have like Lottie, who has like no control really over anything, even though she manages a pet store. Like she's basically being controlled by her pets. Like they're like they're constantly needing to be fed and loved and put to bed. Like when that time Craig comes home and he's like, "So how was your day?" And she's like, "I just fed the pets and tried to put them to bed, and that's basically been my day." And it's like she's just run ragged by everything around her, trying to find some sort of like meaning or whatever. I'm rambling. I'm sorry.
No.
I think like I'm digging a hole trying to find the point, but I have not hit dirt. I mean, not hit that bink yet, so I'm going to stop.
There's a couple of things on the IMDb page I think that kind of like add into that. First off, the guy who wrote it, Charlie Kaufman, who it appears also did Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which makes a lot of sense actually.
I see that.
Yeah, apparently he had two ideas for movies that weren't particularly working. One was that a guy who's trying to cheat on his wife, and the other was someone going into the portal and being John Malkovich. And apparently he just decided to like just put them together. Which is, yeah. And the other thing is that John Cusack originally found the role by asking his agent to find him the craziest script, like, that hasn't been produced yet. So I think it is kind of a bit slapdash and a bit kind of thrown together, and ideas are here without actually, being necessarily, it at least conceptually born as one kind of statement. Rather, it's kind of like all these things mishmashed together and ending up being quote unquote crazy.
Yes, I know I recognise Charlie Kaufman's name now as well.
Yeah, Eternal Sunshine is a good movie, and it is also very much about kind of like, it's not weird for the sake of weird, but it is weird.
He also wrote and partially directed a film a couple of years ago called Anomalisa, which is fully stop motion.
Oh.
And that's very strange as well. And it's about, I think he's a travelling businessman, I think. Customer service, that's it, customer service expert. And he just sees, he's got this, it's all stop motion, like puppets and everything. It's fucking amazing. In terms of the animation, it's fucking amazing. And he's got this condition where he just sees everyone as the same person. So they all look like...
Malkovich?
Malkovich.
It sounds similar. Everyone looks like an actor called Tom Noonan. So everyone just looks like that. And then he meets, in Tom Noonan voices as well, and he meets someone called, I can't remember the character's name, but he meets this woman, and she doesn't look like them, so he's just infatuated with her, and he's like, oh my god, you look like someone else. And again, there's like
I'm looking at some stills now. It's really interesting.
Yeah, he's married as well, but because this woman, her name's Lisa, Lisa Anomalisa, there you go, yeah, that's why it's called that. And but because she looks like her and she doesn't look like everyone else, he becomes infatuated with her and he falls in love with her, and it's very fucking weird. But that makes sense now that it was written by the same guy.
Yeah, it's like all those movies have some sort of parallel with each other now, so it does make sense now that like he's got these ideas and he just sort of mashed them together, which is why we can't really find an overarching point. Yeah. So, but what about Florence? What was her name? Florence, the secretary, like that evil bitch who was just making everyone doubt themselves.
Yeah.
She does it to
Jesus
H.
H. I want to hit her.
Yeah.
Like, I don't mumble. You don't fumble. No, I said I don't mumble. I'm not mumbling anything. I'm screaming at you. Yeah, but with that speech impediment, I can't understand a word you're saying. Are you serious? Like, slam her desk through the floor into floor 7 fully.
Oh, that's it. That's when he goes to the job interviews and he meets Dr. Lester for the first time. He's like, I know it might be a bit difficult to understand me with my speech impediment. He's like, but you don't have one. He's like, it's very kind of you to say.
Yeah, flattery will get you everywhere, Craig.
He's like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, like I almost feel like that mixed in with 7.5, mixed in with puppets, mixed in with Maxine was meant to just muddy your vision, like make it so you have no idea what's going to happen in this movie, so that you're more willing to accept what the idea of being John Malkovich is. Like it might be constructed that way.
To set this almost kind of like absurdist kind of like reality where, it's... I think I touched on it last week when you said you were going to pick this movie. It's kind of like it's almost the kind of the quirky weirdness of bureaucracy and just kind of like the world of business and jobs and how you can know no one at your work and everyone accepts the fact that it's half a floor.
Yeah,
and the lady can't hear you properly and
Yeah.
Also as well, I think because everything. It's actually quite smart, actually, because all that is just so strange and bizarre and almost farcical. By the time it comes to the going into John Malkovich's mind, you're totally on board. Like,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's weird,
like, okay.
isn't it? It kind of it's like a frog being in a pot, and the famous thing is if you put it in a hot pot, it'll jump out. If you put it in a cold pot and turn the heating up, apart from being a monster who kills frogs, the frog won't know because the temperature goes up slowly. So it's that kind of thing. It's like you're being slowly kind of adjusted into this mindset. So it doesn't feel
So,
too far away. It feels within the realms of possibility. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So you're just like, okay, that's fine. So they're going into John Malkovich's mind now. Why not?
Malkovich.
Why not?
So should we talk about the Malkovich scene?
Yes. The existential horror of going into one's
This is
own
what
mind.
happens when
right, yeah.
quote unquote, you divide by 0, or type Google into Google.
You go into the super
Google.
ego.
I'm gonna do that right now. I'm sorry. That sounds like fun.
No!
What have you done?
Broken the walls of reality.
Yeah, unfortunately, Chris, there's a parallel universe you just ended because you did that.
Nice one.
It'll
Chris.
never be this one, but please stop doing it. Okay?
Just in case.
Yeah.
Fuck the other guys. They're not me.
Nothing happens. You just search Google and it goes Google.
I just told you destroyed a parallel universe by doing
I
that.
did it again.
Oh my god, don't refresh.
I did it again.
Oh, there's going to be
I
more
did it
Cloverfield
again.
monsters.
I'm a monster. I did it 5 times. How many millions of people, billions, trillions of people have I ended? I'm
So
still
many
doing
frogs.
it. Somebody stop me. Somebody stop me.
That's
Alright, I'll stop.
15 more Cloverfield monsters you've just created. Nicely done. Nicely done, Chris.
Awesome.
Chris, don't make me
I'm a
Dr.
dad.
Bond your hands together.
I'm a father of Cloverfield monsters.
I am the creator.
Yeah.
Yes, so the
Malkovich scene.
infamous Malkovich scene.
Which I thought
Yeah.
I thought it was great that Malkovich just followed Maxine to the office and what the fuck, 7.5? Goes into the line, asks one person who doesn't recognize him as John Malkovich because I love New York hat. But I mean that voice is unmistakable, and these people are all lining up to be John Malkovich, so you'd think that they would know who he is. And he's just like, oh, he can be John Malkovich for 15 minutes, and he's just like, what the fuck? Walking across the line.
They make a joke out of the fact that everyone kind of knows John Malkovich, but no one can actually name a film that he's been in, and they're all getting it wrong.
That is true. He was a diamond thief once, wasn't he?
Yeah, a jewel thief. And do you know what's really funny? I mean, it's on the IMDb page, but I'd already worked this out while I was watching the movie, that he says, I'd never played a jewel thief, but he does in Johnny English.
Nice.
Which is obviously filmed afterwards, but is really interesting because I made that connection in my head myself. I was like, that's really funny because he actually is in another movie, but
In another universe.
Maybe he was like,
Ah.
I've never played a jewel thief on the script, but he's like, hey, agent, I've never
Yeah.
played a jewel thief.
now I have to.
Can we make that happen?
That's some high level art, like meta art by like engineering your life decisions so that they actually impact upon a movie narrative.
Yeah. Well, I think
yeah.
being John Malkovich, at least, I mean, as being John Malkovich, not the movie itself, you kind of run out of ideas after being like a super megastar all the time. Once you ride high as much as he has. He's like, wait, I haven't played a jewel thief. That seems like something I would be perfect at doing. Let's do that. What was the one where he played a retard?
Yeah.
Remember that scene? I love that one where you played a retard. It's just great to have actors play retards so compassionately.
I think that was on IMDb as well, where the what the guy came up with was kind of ad-libbed, but apparently Spike Jonze said to him, get the word retard in as many times as you can.
Oh, man.
I love how genuinely uncomfortable John Malkovich looks like. That's great. I mean, you kind of compliment me and trying to say nice things, but you keep saying retard.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I like how it's like, wow, you go in the mind of an actor, and his day-to-day life is just really boring.
Well,
Like,
yeah.
They go into it at one point, and he's just like taking out leftover Chinese, and he's like, yeah, I was wondering about the towels. Like, I don't want that one, so would it be right if could I just have it without? Oh no, it comes in a sauce. What's the difference between 1 and 2? It's like
Yeah.
the exciting world of John Malkovich, actor.
Yeah. Just buying
it's
hand
like.
towels.
That's what it'd be like. It's like, yeah, they're not always like exciting lives. Some just like sit down and read all day. Like Chris Pine just goes to the library,
Yeah.
just reads.
He's not really a starship captain, everybody.
No, I think it's Chris Pine that particularly hates the paparazzi, so he just grows his beard out, wears like really dull-looking clothes, so they just stop following him.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he's just boring again. What's he doing? He's just reading at a coffee shop. Well, let's go and see what someone else is doing.
Yeah. Let's go find Bieber again.
See what that loser's doing.
But yeah, so this all follows up into Malkovich finding out there's a hole that goes inside his own
that's so
head.
good.
And then he just like tackles everybody trying to get to the hole. And there was already like a Japanese dude who's inside the hole. So that guy saw Malkovich find the hole and tackle everyone to get to the hole.
Yeah.
Shit, that would have been exciting as shit. I do like it when they realise it's him and everyone's like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, Mr. Malkovich.
Yeah. And they're just so forthcoming with what's going on. Like, yeah, we found a hole that goes into your head, sir. He's like, my head?
He's like,
Yeah. Well, yeah. What's the problem? I know it's weird, but, whatever. It's fine. We're all having fun. You're not having any fun?
I love how, because we were talking about the kind of like the absurd, like the absurdity being kind of painted and slowly kind of turned up. Like, John Malkovich, I love that he is acting as someone who is just like the only sane person in this entire movie.
Yeah.
And horrible stuff is happening to him.
Constantly.
And his reactions are just completely normal.
Yeah.
You find out some shit is going on, you trail them, you go over there and you tell them what's what.
Yeah. You'll be hearing from my lawyer. I'll see you in court. Like, can you imagine the court case? Like, so they found a hole that goes in your... Yes, Your Honor. And it, like, just like I was saying earlier, it's like, so when they go into... Is it like a hole that, like, moves... I don't see anything connected to your brain right now. Is it, like, wireless? Do we have wireless yet? 1999, yeah, they had cell phones. So, like, like, how do they get into your head? God, do I have to bring you to the hole? You're gonna have to bring me to the hole. I don't believe this. And then he's going to go into the hole. Then he's going to have like a transient life experience being John Malkovich for 15 minutes. And like, holy crap, dude, I was in your head for 15 minutes. I don't want to be a judge anymore. Throws the robes into the air, runs off screaming. I'm like, I want to go be a puppet master or whatever. He just changes people's lives constantly because he can't prove it without showing people the hole. Then they have to go in the hole. That's like a weird movie. It's already a weird movie. Anyway, so he goes into his own head. And what he sees is himself everywhere.
So good. Everywhere. And it would be, I mean, really, that would be absolutely horrifying.
To physically experience, yes.
Yeah. That would be absolutely horrifying if that was, I mean, because it's like, because your brain would freak out anyway. It's like, no, you're unique. No, But
yeah. But they're just saying Malkovich. Even the menu said Malkovich all over it. Malkovich for $14.90.
And it's when he tries something, he goes, Malkovich!
Yeah, he screams it out, and the waiter's like, Malkovich, yes.
Yeah, it's Malkovich. I feel like he like bumps into one person, they go, Malka! So I was like,
yeah.
What?
Nice. It's like a Pokemon.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. But yeah, that one scene is just, it's really quick, but it sticks with you.
Yeah,
it's the enduring image of the movie for definite. Yeah.
Like, I wonder if they just like computer generated his head on people, because it seems a little bit like uncanny valley stuff.
I was looking for it.
Or if he actually had like a tit suit, because he had a nice rack for an old guy, in the beginning, in the beginning of the movie, or in the beginning of that scene where he looks up and he sees himself bald-headed with earrings and like a pleasant feminine expression on his face, like he's on a date. He's like leaning forward, showing off his tits. Malkovich in front of him. It's like, what? Fuck. Oh man! And of course the piano Malkovich, just like languidly or languishing onto the piano, like spreading his legs around and singing along. And man,
my favorite one.
He must have either there was CGI stuff or he was like in costume for like 100 people, one after another, and they just sort of spliced it onto the movie.
I think it's one of those things where they got a whole load of lookalikes, and every shot they made sure that John Malkovich was in it and the focus, and like maybe I don't know if they did any digital work. It's kind of like 99, I guess is. It's in the realms of possibility. But yeah, there were a couple of lookalikes because I was looking for it in certain shots, and you can tell that some of them aren't actually him.
But it still looks, it's
still a really good piece of work.
Yeah, like I've seen it twice, and this time I was looking around and I could not tell they weren't Malkovich. So that's crazy. Man.
Yeah, it's a really funny scene, and it's strange because it is funny, but then when you start thinking about it, you're like, yeah, that would be pretty frightening.
Yeah, like last night actually, I had a weird dream, and I'm going to make this really quick. I dreamt that I had a son, right? So it was kind of a nightmare. I didn't want to be a parent. And his name was Keanu. Like, I remember his name was Keanu. But I spent the entirety of the dream like going from person to person. Yeah, I've got a kid. He's like 5. I don't remember having a son, but I was like telling everybody, and I was
he just showed up.
Yeah, I was basically telling everybody in order to like try to get someone to tell me I don't have a son, so that I could like, oh, maybe it's not my kid. You know, and like get away from the responsibility of being a parent. And like that is kind of similar to like waking up and seeing everyone who looks just like you saying your name over and over again. And I can imagine like from that parallel how frightening it would be to be John Malkovich with a bunch of other Malkoviches, no matter how hot they are.
Yeah.
There was some damn sexy Malkoviches in that scene.
Damn sexy.
That's
Malkovich
right.
has got it going on, man. But yeah, I mean, seeing yourself looking back would be really frightening.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that I don't, this idea of like what would it be like if you met yourself? It's like, it's got to be weird.
Yeah.
I don't know if your brain might just shut down, like, ah.
Like, I'm really putting brain power on it right now, and I'm imagining Matt looking at Matt.
It's just weird.
It's like if crossing the streams in Ghostbusters. You never Malkovich on a Malkovich.
That's right. Yeah.
It'd be like, what if you sat here right now, you're recording this, and yourself walked through the door and just stood there looking at you.
Yeah.
Like, that's horrifying.
I would be like, shh, podcast, We'll
do this afterwards.
We'll do the horror thing later.
Because if it's like, wait, what if he's not the doppelganger and I'm the doppelganger and I think I'm the real one?
Yeah.
Like, that's
yeah.
That compounded with the last name being the only word they know. It's like you can't even ask anyone a question because everyone just says Malkovich. And you're like, I don't understand Malkovich, but you don't understand yourself. Oh God! Existentialist horror.
I want to shoot myself. Yeah, I do like the fact that he flies out and so does the Chinese guy. Or the Asian guy, and he's like, that was even better than last time. It's like, he's just like talking to John Malkovich, he's like, it was an honor, sir.
It was an honor, yeah. Man.
Oh, and also that right afterwards he's on the New Jersey Turnpike, and that guy drives past and direct hit with that beer can.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Bravo.
Hey, Malkovich! Bing!
Bravo.
It's like two things. One, he's still wearing incognito Malkovich attire. So how did that guy know who was John Malkovich from the back? And two, how did he know that in enough time to get a can of beer and just like swing it at him with some accuracy? That was like the weirdest scene. It was almost like an extra did it and they just kept it in the movie. It was like, screw it.
It's like, whoa, dude, is that John Malkovich? He just fell out of the sky.
Yeah, let's hit him with a beer can.
Driver, I fucking got this, man.
Don't even slow down. I gotta figure it out. It's no problem.
I don't know that genuinely hurt.
Yeah.
Like, even if that's a gimmicked can, you're still getting something thrown at your head while someone's speeding past in a car.
Yeah.
Oh, good movie. Really fun movie.
Yeah. But then it ends.
So funny.
It ends with that whole weirdness where, was it Malkovich? Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, Maxine, right? Maxine decides to. No, yeah, I'm just like assembling the rest of the ending in my head right now. Craig decides to find ways to get back into Malkovich's head, and he does, and he ends up like totally controlling him for 8 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally controlling him. Like like Malkovich had a front row seat to where his body was going, but had no ability to stop it from moving at all.
That's
so
horrible.
It's like, yeah, he's watching his career being destroyed, and he's turning into a top-notch puppeteer, though. Everyone
Was
loves
it like,
him.
did they have Sean Penn?
Yeah,
Was
it
it
has
Sean
Sean
Penn?
Penn.
Like, we all
because
probably going to go into acting now, puppetry now.
Yeah.
That's it, because he's like, sometimes, us actors, we're not brave enough, and we should really follow our dreams.
Yeah. I love how Charlie
confirm
Sheen
with
was John Malkovich's like best friend.
Yeah.
Like,
I love it. And the fact that he's like really bald at the end. You're like,
yeah.
In 7 years' time, it's actually that would be. No, I'm sorry, Charlie, but 7 years' time it's going to be worse.
Yeah, it's gonna be so much worse. And
I got AIDS.
Yeah, I'm a warlock.
I got tiger blood. On the drug, it's called Charlie Sheen.
No, you know what it is, because that wasn't Charlie Sheen.
Yeah, it's a
That's some
lookalike.
lunatic. He took over his body and was like, I'm gonna tell us cocaine, this is great. Charlie Sheen's like, fuck, now I've got AIDS.
Oh boy.
Gotta deal with this now.
But yeah, so massive puppeteering career. He's like super successful, and then we get like this weird plot twist where Lester, the guy who owns the office with the 7.5 floor, knows all about the Malkovich tunnel and planned to use it on Malkovich's 44th birthday at midnight, which is when his brain is perfectly ripe to take over his body, which is kind of probably why Craig was able to manipulate his body so well. It wasn't so much like his puppeteering powers. It was just that the brain was getting ripe. You know?
I was thinking,
because
he
had that creepy room that was like development of Malkovich.
Oh man!
Like growing up. And
what
also,
a
it's really fun.
hallway.
They revealed that he was that captain as well, the original.
Yeah,
the guy who must
it's
have married
weird.
the midget.
And
PC
she wasn't a
just
midget.
a short person.
Little person, the Hobbit.
Oh my god! Yeah, I don't feel bad anymore.
But yeah, and it's weird because he just goes, oh yeah, I'm Murphy, and then goes on to explain it, and it's really quick. So I'd forgotten about that from when I first saw it. And I was like, oh shit, I don't remember that.
I didn't realize this movie made some kind of sense. Like it had a plot that actually had a villain kind of person who was doing this stuff for fun before the other people were doing it, and it connects all the dots. It's like, oh shit, okay, cool.
I found a way to live forever. I'm like, you're kind of evil.
Yeah,
you're kind of evil. So I'm gonna bring all my friends along. It's like, oh, they're all old. I'm like, yeah, but they've had their life and now they're stealing someone else's.
And how does that work with like 19 people in your brain?
They take it in turns. I do like that when they're in there and you hear that old woman in the background going, I always wondered what it was like to have a penis. It's like that's great.
Yeah.
No, the director got an actress, this old woman was like, okay, now I just need you to say the line, I always wondered what it was like to have a penis, please. Go on now. And she's like, all right, Spike.
I've always wanted to say this line.
Movies are magic. They're absolutely magic.
Yeah. But, yeah, then there's like that Maxine kidnapping thing. Like, there's like this really like strong plot point that we just kind of gloss over because everything else is so bizarre.
Yeah.
But, so Lester and Corp like and company try to like kidnap Maxine. They succeed in kidnapping 8-month pregnant Maxine, and they're gonna like kill her unless Craig leaves Malkovich's body, which of course he doesn't want to do. So he's like torn between the idea of like losing the love of his life, who he just sort of met and fell in love madly with, or losing his puppeteering career. And he eventually decides to lose the puppeteering career and get out, which he does. And then everyone else piles in. And wow, why is it so foggy? Foggy, not fucky. I was going to say fuzzy and foggy together, and it came into one new word, fuggy. I'm going to get a t-shirt that says fuggy on it now, and it's going to be a new trend. Yo, it be foggy up in here.
Yo, how comes it's so foggy, yo? It's like, the fuck you, get out.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Like,
take that shirt off, alright? Never say that word again, I'm sorry.
Because I remember, like, Maxine and Lottie, for some reason, they just make up, because, like, Maxine admits to Lottie that it's Lottie's baby, because Lottie had control of Malkovich when they conceived the child, which is why she let the child happen. And the other thing is that, like, I don't know, like, maybe my experiences aren't as great, but I just don't understand. It's like, open the door, get on the couch, bang, 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 immediately. It's like, really? Like, 15 minutes? Like, you just sort of hop and go? But whatever, it's a movie. It's a movie. And so, like, Lottie just goes, okay, Maxine, you're my wife now. And they get into the taxi and they drive off, leaving Craig. And Craig's like, I'll go back to Malkovich and I will do things to Malkovich. So he goes back to Malkovich and he goes in and he gets in the point after the brain was ripe. So now he becomes, like, the baby of Malkovich through Lottie, and so he's stuck in the little girl, and he can't control her for the rest of existence. Really, and I guess until Emily dies. Yeah,
that's absolutely horrifying. And it's kind of creepy at the end when he's so obviously now Lester is in Malkovich, and Charlie Sheen's got the amazing ball cap on.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, what about if I told you could live forever? And then he walks into the room, and he's got like the obviously the progress of the little kid. And he's like, "Isn't she lovely?" Like, that's creepy. That's really creepy.
I just realized something that
watch them.
Craig's already in Emily. So when Lester and company pile into Emily, what?
Hey, you might have some friends.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, thank God.
Well, maybe it won't be so bad.
Like, will he still be trapped there, or can he leave at that point? And if they leave, does that mean they come out on the New Jersey Turnpike the age they went in?
Yeah.
Like the body
20
the
old
same?
people just appear.
I was like, even if you're 110, that fall is going to start adding up. Like...
You better hope you're the lot. Hey, Lester will be right because he was the last one, and so he'll just land on the rest of them.
Yeah.
My hip.
That's the plan. That's the plan. That's why he's bringing those people.
Yeah, they're not really friends, they're
They're
padding.
cushioning.
Just in case. They are collateral.
But why the New Jersey Turnpike? That's what I don't understand. Why that specific spot? Every time.
I remember the first time I saw it because you see like the under the bit, you can kind of see like under the bridge a bit, like on the top. I thought, oh, is he gonna like come out a pipe on the other side? No, he just falls out of the sky.
Yeah.
Okay. Boom. Oh, it's like the magic of movies.
Yeah.
Like, do they just appear, or do they like why is this the thing I'm questioning?
That reminds me of one thing. It's relevant to why the New Jersey Turnpike, though not specifically. I've been listening to audiobooks, and I try to target audiobooks from celebrities talking about either their life or whatever, and usually celebrities I'm interested in. I love stand-up comedy. I love Patton Oswalt. I think he's a great comedian, even if I don't agree with him all the time, but I do think he's a great storyteller. So I was like, hey, there's an audiobook by Patton Oswalt. I picked it up. He was telling this story about the first time he was in a movie, and I know this is a wild tangent, but I promise it'll work together. He told about his first time being an extra in a movie because he wanted to be a movie director for the longest time. But it was a movie called Down Periscope, where it had Kelsey Grammer and some other people, and he's like an outlaw submarine captain, and they gave him like this rundown piece of shit submarine that you go tell him to do a suicide mission, and long story short, the movie, they win for whatever reason. So at the point when they win, Patton Oswalt, he gets up, he claps some officer on the shoulder like, yeah, we did it, and then he walks off the submarine, as in goes into the back and just sort of exit stage left, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
The story behind that, though, was that Patton Oswalt, he needed to take another job, so he needed to leave this job. He couldn't continue being an extra on that set for the duration of the movie because he's poor. He needed money, and he's like, I really need this money. I'm going to see if I can't get out of this to go get something else. Director's like, yeah, sure, you can do that. He's like, really? Like, are you just going to get another extra or a stand-in who looks just like me or something like that? He's like, nah, just we'll do a scene, and after that scene, you just clap someone on the shoulder, and then you walk off the submarine. And he's like, well, won't that just confuse people? Like, I just walked out of a submarine underwater? He's like, yeah, sure as fuck will. Who cares? And I was just like, the first time I've ever thought that a director was fully aware of making a huge movie mistake like the New Jersey Turnpike, and making us as the audience ask questions why, and not giving a shit at all. Doing it on purpose.
You'd go, but why'd you do that? Because why not?
So I just love that idea though. Patton Oswalt's like, good job everybody, I'm gonna go drown.
And that's he's just doomed them all.
But no one even acknowledges that happens for that reason. It's just he just goes somewhere. So the whole New Jersey Turnpike thing is just another one of those situations where it's like, well, we'll just have them fall out of the sky here. The movie is already absurd. Who cares?
Yeah, it's the strangest thing in the movie. You go, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
The magic of movies.
And that's what I was trying to say. With 1990s movies, it's you just had more of that, where no one was critically examining all these movies piece by piece and trying to find inner meanings and messages and statements. You were just like, that was a weird movie. I'm going to continue living my life now. Instead of my blog, blah, 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 outrage, outrage, outrage. Anyway.
There was not enough diversity in this movie.
Yeah.
But it's just about black characters.
Well, not enough diversity. There should be more women that were lighter. You got to cover everybody. I didn't see one Japanese person in the entire movie.
Yeah.
Terrible. It's racist, and I will not stand for it.
But it's a film
I'm outraged!
But it's a film set in ancient Sweden.
I am outraged. Not of people with red hair. There's at least a couple. No, it's historically accurate, maybe, but this is the 21st century.
Yeah.
Those types of people that you can't please.
Yeah. It's like, was it Witcher 3 didn't have enough black people, or any at all, because it's actually, like, based in, like, Northern Europe or whatever, where there just aren't as many, like, indigenous black people.
Yeah, it's
or something
written,
like
it's
that.
like, but based on a series of books written by a Norwegian or Danish author. Like,
yeah.
Oh, all those streams of diverse
Multicultural
people in Norway.
yeah. That's
It's like, fuck's sake.
like I'm not gonna try to get into it, but like the ideas like those come from, unfortunately, like Western civilization, where there's a lot of like intermingling of species. So we all want representation. So when like a movie or a game or a book or something comes out like in other countries that don't have high diversity cultures, well, that's what you're gonna get, is whoever lives there. It's like this picture I saw once with Jay-Z hanging out with. Like, he's in Norway, I think, with like a recording studio company that either he's putting together himself or something, and it's this one black guy, Jay-Z, with a bunch of Norwegians who are all white, because in Norway they just don't have a lot of black people. And like people were sharing that shit on Twitter, like Jay-Z's a racist, he's like sold himself to white people and blah 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 blah. And it's like, what the fuck ever? Whatever happened to like just being human? Like everyone just being cool to begin with, instead of like pointing out different colors and stuff. Anyway, I'm not getting into it. That shit just hits me sometimes, and I get mad about it.
No, I think so.
Do you think
it's
we'll see
fair.
the day when we have, like, a person of colour playing, like, a Nazi officer, or
Fucking brave.
or like,
That would be awesome.
a biopic about the civil rights movement in the US in the 60s, and, like, black people also play the white racists.
Yeah.
Because you've got to have, like, they're the best person for
Diversity.
the job.
Yeah,
So.
they know all about it, apparently.
Spike Lee would still say it was racist.
Yeah.
Because Spike Lee said twice. I hate everything because I'm Spike Lee. I'm
Yeah.
trying to stay relevant. He made a remake of Old Boy, and it was a piece of shit. Everyone hated it. He's like, fuck you! Racist.
Like, that's the thing.
just-
That's like a real life horror story, is that like there's an outrage culture on the internet now, where it's like you just take something that doesn't require being outraged about, but then you share it on the internet, and people who just want to be outraged for whatever reason share it on the internet, and then people who are like, that's outrageous, but there's nothing really wrong with it or whatever, will comment and try to defend it, and then the people who want to be outraged will fight those people, and then you just have line after line after line being drawn, and then Facebook proliferates that into the air like spores from a mushroom or something, and it's just, it just keeps happening.
It's
And
weird
that-
recontextualization of the events, though, because last year, I think at the end of last year, there was a clothing company. I can't remember which clothing company it was
Oh,
now,
Jesus.
but they posted a
Jesus.
picture that was like of a
Jesus.
kid, and I think the reference on the T-shirt was to being like the coolest monkey in the jungle or something.
It was like the king of the...
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a black kid.
And it was a black kid. Now,
Oh,
like, yeah, apart from the fact that that's like the stupidest thing in the entire world to do, not necessarily, like, even if you want to put aside the fact that maybe people just don't want to offend other people, say you're like the most offensive fucker in the world, you still wouldn't do that because like what a PR disaster that will be. It'll like tank your company overnight. And the people, the kid that starred in the picture, the family of that person came out and said, yeah, we haven't got a problem with it, it's fine. But the internet picked it up and ran with it, and I can see the problem with it, obviously, and I can see how some people would very righteously be like offended by it. Fair enough.
it's like, you would hope that the person working on the website would just look at that phone and go, no, maybe...
Or
we'll
maybe I
use
should
the
update my
other
resume.
Yeah, it's like there's a footballer. He's French. He plays in the Spanish league, and called Antoine Griezmann, and he went to a fancy dress party as one of the Harlem Globetrotters. Trotters.
Is it fuggy for you too?
Guys want to do
it's
the
gonna be
basketball.
fun. It's one of the Harlem Globetrotters, and he backs himself up.
Amazing.
It's like, look, I know you... It's like, he's clearly not trying to be racist, but when you're a public personality, gotta be a little smarter.
Yeah, there's a degree of self-awareness there where, like, if you can't think ahead enough to go, what will this look like to other people?
Like, maybe think about this.
Yeah.
Like, maybe not.
Somewhat ill-advised.
Yeah. It's like, the intent is not to be racist, but just think about it. Let's just have a little think. Because I saw the picture and just went, fuck's sake. It's like, you gotta be smarter, dude. Like, you're a big famous footballer, you're in the public eye. Gotta be a bit smarter. I'm not saying that he was being racist, but it's like, you just think about what you're doing.
The other thing on that, though, like the counter argument is that there are people who believe the Earth is flat.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So, it's impossible, mathematically, to determine what is and isn't outrageous to anyone and everyone, even the general public, because in today's internet outrage culture, it only takes one person.
I think where that comes in is there are safe targets. So if you make fun of the Westboro Baptist Church, that's fine because they're a safe target. And I'd say flat earthers probably fall into that as well.
They are.
I hate them.
I'd fight any flat earther any day right now. I would fight them.
Ironically being pulled down by the gravity of the sphere we live on.
I will punch the stupid out of them. I remember I jokingly post things and I go over the top and I'm like, not so hyperbole. I'm just like, I fucking hate these people. Joke. Part of it's humour. Even when I really hate something, I will go over the top to be humorous. It's like, it's the fucking worst thing ever. Jokingly. And I said like, I genuinely loathe and hate these people and this moronic, twattish contrarian who I don't like. But I have to be nice to him at times because he knows people I know. And he said something like, I don't think that's very fair. Everyone's... I'm like, no, I hate them because they're dangerous. They're dangerous and stupid. It's like the people that say, no, you don't need to take your chemotherapy. Just homeopathy, that'll do it. And eat your
hold this crystal
foods.
In front of your face and think pure thoughts, and then the cancer will go away.
Yeah, I hate them because they're killing people.
Yeah.
And people go, no, you shouldn't. Like, no, they're dangerous. Like, they prey on people that are so desperate not to die from cancer and horrible things like that. They prey on them and go, no, see, if you pay this each month, I will electrocute you and electrocute the cancer vapors away. Like,
when you exhale, the cancer will flow out of you into the air. Make sure you are alone so you don't put the cancer on anyone else.
Yeah. I feel better already. Why am I still coughing up blood?
Yeah. Well, that's the cancer.
I do. It's like those people, flat earthers, hate them because they're stupid for stupidity's sake. Like, your life. Sometimes life sucks. There's no big, massive like, oh, my life sucks, and I haven't made it as a famous actor because of the Illuminati. They're holding me back. No, your life sucks.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Get over it. Make it better yourself.
Yeah.
Don't use this as a
Although I can confirm the Illuminati.
Well, obviously. I mean, Jesus, have you seen the videos on YouTube?
Truth seekers.
It's that Jay-Z and that room full of white people. They're in charge.
Yeah. The Illuminati was like helping Jay-Z out. That's what's going on. That's why you've heard about his recording studio. You haven't. Anyway... So that was Being John Malkovich.
Yeah,
great. I love it.
Including the whole discussion we had post Being John Malkovich. That's all Being John Malkovich.
Yeah,
it
gets you thinking.
Yeah, that's what this movie does for you. It gets you thinking, then you have social issue thoughts afterwards. So watch out.
It's brilliant. I saw it the first time I saw it. I kind of liked it this time. I absolutely loved it. I loved it more the second time around. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's absurdist,
It's really
kind of like almost it's comedic. And absurdist, but then there's this kind of this undertone of implications and things from the plot and the way things kind of move around. That there's this kind of seedy nastiness to it as well.
Yeah,
that it makes you a bit uncomfortable, especially the ending.
And it's really unique.
Yeah,
I love movies like that. I know. I want to just bring up one little thing. I mean, I'm already going to go to it, but I know there's that theory that's connected to that movie Get Out, which I haven't watched yet.
Yeah.
But I really desperately want to watch it at some point.
Man.
And there's lots of theories online apparently that it's like a pseudo sequel to this.
Yeah, they've kind of
adopted it. Makes me want to watch
it
even more. It makes me want to watch it even more now.
It's good. There are some parallels. There are also they are completely different movies. I think it's more kind of like someone, oh, that's neat, and then the idea kind of went from there. But you should check out Get Out. It's a good movie.
Yeah, it's on my list of top films to watch because, and especially now, I'm like, I want to know why people think this is connected. Like, I'm curious.
Yeah.
And I heard nothing but good things from a lot of people about it.
Well, the fun thing is, at the end of watching Being John Malkovich, I was like, man, that's an original movie that no one's going to remake. And then you got Get Out. And I was like, oh, yeah. God dang it. I thought we had a gem here. Not like RoboCop, where it's like, oh, that's an awesome 80s movie. Let's remake it. Don't do that. Don't. Why? And then they did. And it's like, it didn't go anywhere. Of course it didn't go anywhere. You're stupid.
You can't make a better film than RoboCop, so why are you trying?
Yeah.
Remake films that had potential but just fell short.
Yeah.
But they won't do that because they're not guaranteed money. But then people will rarely go and see the remake anyway. Cause
right. What they need to do,
a lot of people,
like I was saying, 17 podcasts ago, is just re-release RoboCop in theaters.
Yeah.
We'd all go see that.
Yeah. Like, it came out the year I was born. I didn't see that fucking cinema.
Yeah. You get to have that big old tub of popcorn you can just stuff into your face when you hear, do not resist.
Yeah. And it's proven that these films will make money when they're re-released. Like, you look at, they did it with Titanic, they've done it with Alien, they did it with Terminator 2 last year. That was in the cinema for a while, and it made a fuck ton of money, because people younger are going to see that again.
Yeah.
But people my age, or our age, that didn't see it when it came out the cinema, will go, oh my god, I get to see it on the big screen.
Yeah.
I finally get to see one of my favourite movies growing up on the big screen.
Yeah.
They'll make money from it, but whatever. Let's just remake it, because it's cheaper. It's not cheaper. Why you do it?
Sometimes it's to do with rights and stuff, though, isn't it? Like, they lose the rights if they don't remake it and stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh. Let's remake average films like Kroll.
No.
Yeah.
Are they doing that? Don't.
No.
Okay. No. Good. Like, The Crow is one of those, edgelordy movies that I loved when I was 14, and I still kind of have guilty pleasures for. But I would never... I didn't watch any of the sequels, and I was never going to watch the sequels. But I would really hate for them to, remake The Crow. Especially...
you were talking about The Crow. Okay.
I meant Kroll.
Oh, Kroll. Okay, never mind. Yeah, I don't give a shit. I've never seen it.
Best thing about Kroll is James Horner's score, which is just fucking amazing.
His skull?
That's when he was just having a hit it.
Did you say his skull?
His score.
Oh, the score. Music score. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right.
I did not exhume
not
James
high
Horner's
score.
corpse, okay?
Not number of skulls
I don't know where the
obtained.
rumors are coming from.
I thought you were having a man crush on his face or something. His skull is so great.
I don't know where these rumors keep coming from, but I did not fly to America just to exhume the body of James Horner so I could string him up and create more music. Shit, I'm revealing too much. I need to...
Thanks for watching the show. Goodbye.
Oh, shit. My pick is something.
Away. Speaking of your pick, though, what is your pick?
I was torn between a few. Because the thing is, I always want to pick ones that I know I've seen. Because I know I like it. So I was torn between Observance again, 10 Cloverfield Lane, because the Paradox just come out recently, and I wanted to revisit 10 Cloverfield Lane. But then I thought, fuck it, pick a film I haven't seen, but has always been recommended to me. Okay. Last year we delved into the realm of Italian horror with Lucio Fulci's Zombie.
We did, with that excellent Caribbean music, I might add.
Oh, so good. And my man crush on Richard Johnson. And
Dick Johnson.
So I thought,
get to the boat. The boat can leave now.
Tell the crew the boat can leave. I wish he survived. But so I thought we'll go back to Lucio Fulci and this film I've always wanted to fucking see called The Beyond.
The Beyond.
Or it's called, what is it? I think it might be called something else in America. But Seven Doors of Evil or something. But anyway, it's known primarily as The Beyond.
I prefer The Beyond. That's a kick-ass name.
I've always had it like highly recommended to me in terms of that type of horror.
Oh, there's a movie called The Beyond that's been released in 2018. Is that the one you're talking about?
Oh no. No, it's 1981.
Yeah.
So it's Lucio Fulci, so it's going to be unbelievably violent.
I can already see some pretty close-up eyes.
Yeah, there's going to be. I mean, of course. I mean, we all remember that delightful scene from Zombie with the splinter in the eye. So expect. I know something will happen with an eye, but I don't know what it is. Maybe there'll be more than one.
It got a 0.5 out of 4 by Roger Ebert.
Yeah, but he hates horror films, so.
Yeah.
And incidentally, I forgot to mention, Roger Ebert loved Being John Malkovich.
He really did, didn't he?
Yeah. He, I think it was his top movie of that year, or at least in the top 4 or something. And he gave it a full 4 out of 4.
See, because I was looking up the Beyond as well. Obviously, I saw like the critical reception from Roger Ebert. But when Time Out London conducted a poll with authors, directors, critics, and actors who've worked in the horror genre, they voted it as number 49 out of 100.
Oh wow!
So whenever like his like fellow members of the community, of the horror community, when actors and directors will go, "It's really fucking good," then I'm always interested in like, if other horror directors really like it, then there must be something. So, but I've heard really good things. It's very surreal and Lovecraftian in places apparently. So I thought I'd pick that. It could be.
It is on YouTube, but it's on the YouTube pay to watch thing.
Yeah, and once again, it's not on Netflix. I don't think there's been like one movie. No, there's been 2 movies. The ones that Tom mentioned, like in the very beginning of our podcast career, Triangle was on Netflix and something else.
Yes,
but The Beyond is not on Netflix, and there hasn't been like 90% of our movies have not been on Netflix, and it's really pissing me off.
Yeah,
I'm really getting mad about that.
And then when we want to pick one, we go on Netflix. Like, oh, it's been taken off.
Yeah.
So fuck. So. Yeah, I'm afraid it's not. Luckily, Being John Malkovich was on Amazon Prime for me, so that was nice.
Yeah, it was on Amazon Prime for me 3 days ago, and then not today.
For fuck's sake!
I mean, it's almost like I searched for it, and they're like, "Oh, he'll pay for that. Pay for it."
Yeah, like wait, someone come through the searching for it. Take it off, make them buy.
Yeah, I almost feel like that's true though, because it's like Young Frankenstein was on Netflix like some time ago. My dad was watching it, and then like it wasn't there a couple weeks ago, and my fiance and I were watching it. I had to go ahead and rent it again on Amazon Video or something for $3, which I mean $3 is worth it for Young Frankenstein. Yeah. It's fantastic comedy.
Oh, totally.
But I mean, the whole what was it, like Sitting on the Ritz or whatever song where they're on the stage, and Gene Wilder going dun 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 dun, you know, and then he points the cane at the monster, and the monster's like, God, that's hilarious. I'd forgotten all about that, but it's like he does it 4 or 5 times in that scene, and it's just pinpoint perfect every time that joke happens. I love it. Oh my god. So yeah.
I'll watch that now.
Yeah, but not on Netflix.
Well,
like
The Beyond is not on UK Amazon either, so even to buy, to watch, you'd have to buy a DVD. So I think this is the first movie I'm going to pay YouTube to see. I don't think I've ever done that before.
I've not done YouTube. I'm probably gonna buy it on Blu-ray because when last time I spoke about the Arrowhead.
Oh, it's one of those special kind of releases with the really nice artwork.
And I saw it. I was like, oh, the artwork's nice, and Arrow Video, so I know it's going to be good quality, and they're not going to make it look too pristine. Like, they did a really good job with the restoration on Zombie, because it still looked grungy, and it still had some of the the impurities in it. And I think, like I said before, with a lot of the Italian horror from the 80s, and I think when you make it too clean, it loses something. Like the grungy look, like from like a VHS tape, just adds to some of them. It can really add to it. So yeah. So I'm gonna pick it up because hey, it's another Lucio Fulci movie, and hopefully it's good.
Yeah,
I did enjoy the first one that we saw, the zombie. I did enjoy it.
Yeah,
I was really I was just relieved it was still good.
Yeah, and this one it said something about like 7 doorways to hell, so I'm kind of on board with it. You know, I'm not dreading this nearly as much as I was dreading Zombie, so you know, which I did eventually like in some regard anyway. So there's that.
I know one thing that's in it, and he didn't want to put it in the movie, but the distributors, like the production companies, like said you have to put it in because our viewer base are having a boom with this at the moment, so you have to put it in. He's like, fine, we'll go in this bit. So that's all I know, but obviously I won't say what it is. But I think knowing that when it gets to that moment, I think you'll both like immediately cotton on to what it was. You go, oh, that's why that's in it.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing I know. So, but I'm looking forward to it. So more horrifying, violent Italian horror.
Excellent.
It's like I saw everyone's in pain. So, yes, so that is my pick for next week.
I'll admit also that like after watching Being John Malkovich, as much fun as I had watching it, and how I like psychological thriller or existential horror, that kind of stuff, I was like, yeah, I guess it's about time for a Matt movie.
Fuck you. I have a wide, varied taste in movies.
Sure you do, bud. They all have zombies in them.
I will go from absolutely adoring critical masterpieces such as The Godfather, Goodfellas, Deer Hunter, and stuff like that. And I will watch zombie flesh eaters with a big grin on my face. I will watch Phantasm.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna watch The Beyond, which is what it's called on YouTube, where I'll have to rent it because Netflix is shite.
Yep. It's probably cheaper on YouTube than renting it on, if you can rent it on Amazon.
It's not on Amazon. You have to buy it there too.
You can't rent it on Amazon on the UK, definitely.
Yeah.
Balls.
I've just looked.
Yeah, same here. It's like $8.99 for the disc, and I'm like, I'm not gonna put that much money down on it. Certainly, I'm not gonna own it.
Guarantee you won't guarantee you'll like it. So
yeah,
it's I don't know what it is in dollars, but it's $2.50 in the UK to watch it on YouTube.
$3.99.
That's not terrible. And it's like, you know, even if it's terrible, I've paid more than that to watch a movie at the cinema I hated.
Right.
That's what I was saying to my girlfriend about before we finished. Like we were talking about the Cloverfield paradox and how everyone is like fucking hating it with so much vitriol on the internet, and I'm sat there thinking, you know, it wasn't perfect. I enjoyed it. It was technically free, and I have paid like £12 to see a movie I've absolutely hated that's been worse than that at the cinema. So
fuck it, I'm gonna do it again.
Yeah.
That's a heavy price to pay too.
Yeah.
Yep.
£12, so yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Beyond for next week, that's the homework.
I'm just imagining
I'm sorry in advance.
I'm just imagining like you walk up to the theater and you like hand them an actual 12-pound stone.
Like, you said £12. £12. Fucking wear it.
I chiseled some bits off it. You're not getting any more out of me.
I made sure.
Here is your change, sir. Clink, 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 clink.
It's like, it says it's £13. Shit! Chisel, chisel, chisel.
Like pour some rock dust on it. Sorry. I'm sorry for interrupting you for that, but I was just like, this is a great visual.
Just stone-faced as well.
Yeah.
So, wait then. I've got my own scales if you don't trust me. Use your own.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Take a ticket. Walk it. Security? Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Call the police. He's bought rocks again.
He brought rocks again. Does this all the time.
You don't understand. Oh, I'm going to pen that as a movie. So...
Yeah,
that's the homework, is Italian horror.
Until next time.
I'm sorry.
Yes, next time.
Enjoy The Beyond. Please pay for it in the actual currency of where you live and not stones.
Or unless like a pound of flesh. Don't do that either. It isn't
John Locke somewhere. And he's like, don't you tell me what I can't do. In his wheelchair. Reference! Lost. That's not dated.
Silence. Goodbye, everybody.
I should know it. End it. There, it should end there. It was like, remember Lost? No. Oh.
This episode of Spoilers of the Damned was hosted by Axton10_61, Madcus Finch, and Garlips. To find out about us, as well as join the discussion on our Discord, check out all the links in the description below. Please feel free to leave a review or rate us on your podcast app of choice.